with the Mavericks. Kyrie can play off the ball, too. He's one of the best shooters in the NBA. It'll be really exciting basketball.
Mike Krzyzewski on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. NFL Chiefs coach Andy Reid telling reporters today quarterback Patrick Mahomes is close to full health ahead of Sunday's Super Bowl 57 matchup against the Eagles. He added that Mahomes can do just about everything despite his ankle injury. Mahomes said his ankle has improved since that win over the Bengals in the AFC Championship game.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Shacks presents Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau.
We're going to have to show a little more patience than the year 2 pom-pom people.
Kasey Kurtz.
Yo! But what are we doing, bro? Come on!
And Aaron Schachter.
I'm all in favor of these two showing their love, really celebrating their relationship.
Get him! Get him! Get him! Hit him! Hit him! Yeah! Boom! Jack! Boom! Yeah! Boom! Jack! Boom!
This is Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Kasey Kurtz, and Aaron Schachter on Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. ESPN 690.
Hey, let's go from Radio Row in Phoenix, Arizona. Super Bowl 57 around the corner. We've reached the midweek point, and it'll be so interesting someday to cover this with the Jags in a game and how long it takes to get to here, where it begins another game week, actually, for the teams, the Eagles and the Chiefs. Day 2 for us, ESPN 690, Action Sports Jacks. Brent and Friends here from 3 until 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton. Right after that until 7. That's what we're bringing to you each and every day from Phoenix, Arizona. Brent Martineau, Kasey Kurtz right here. Aaron Schachter pushing all the buttons and magically doing so in the Action Sports Jacks studio. And we've got some big stuff today because, Clay Harbor stops by. Of course, he played for the Eagles, so we get his take on Philadelphia. We also will talk more about this football game, but we do that kind of on the outskirts of things. You can get that just about anywhere. We'll give our 2 cents. Chad Henne talked today, and we have some reaction from him about playing for the Jags, about big drive against the Jags, and about being a backup quarterback in the NFL and going into this kind of game. Kasey Kurtz caught up with Michael Vick, Jimmy Johnson, and others like Howie Long this week here at Super Bowl 57. And Trevor Lawrence pens an article to you, Jacksonville. That is really the big story back home in Duval as Trevor Lawrence puts his arms around the city of Jacksonville, the Jacksonville Jaguars franchise, and looks forward to year 3 as the face of the franchise in the River City. Hey, everybody. How are you doing, Kasey Kurtz? Super Bowl experience picked up. As I say, business picks up, Kurtz.
Yeah, it's busier. I'm just glad we got to sleep.
Sleep was good. That I slept a good 8 hours or so, at least, right? I mean, the time change is goofy. Sometimes the time change helps. It felt like it helped this time around.
Yeah, I don't even know what time it is still fully.
No, I think it's stilly. I think you got it that time.
Stilly is good.
Yeah, the sleep was the key part of this whole experience, and we're moving on today too.
Hey, Aaron.
What's up, buddy?
I'm a relatively smart guy, like not like smart, certainly not book smart, but smart enough to make it in life.
Don't tear your shoulder patting yourself on the back there.
No, like just to make it. Relative's pretty average in my opinion, right?
Okay.
Not I couldn't do the analytics department. I couldn't work in the medical field. Like I can't do a lot of stuff from like a scholarly way, but I can make it in life.
Yeah, okay.
The one thing that really tricks me up in life is the time change. Like I can't get used to it. I have a hard time when we're out in California, the 3 hours. I thought this one going into planning all week was 3 hours, but I guess it changes at daylight savings. 1 hour is okay to deal with when we go to Nashville, and I think Houston has that too. So we do that a couple times a year. Indianapolis, I think it's sometimes an hour behind, and then sometimes it's on Eastern time. Like really weird stuff. London, of course, you go way ahead. It shouldn't trick me up. What I'm saying is I'm smart enough that it shouldn't trick me up as much as it does, but it's something that doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It's kind of weird to go time traveling like that. Like, I'll wake up and I'll want to text you guys something I'm reading in the morning when I first get up, and I'm like, wait a second, it's the middle of the night over there. I can't text you guys.
Yeah, that's a good point. You do anyway. You do text us in the middle of the
I
night.
just figure
anyway,
if you guys don't want to be bothered, you're turning your ringer off. I know for a fact if I was on fire and I could make one phone call to save my life, it better not be to Kasey Kurtz over there.
Yeah.
He's got like a super do not disturb on that thing.
It definitely better not be while we're in Phoenix, Arizona. So anyway, the time changes. Here's the thing. I'm a positive thinking guy, so I use the time change to my advantage either way. So like last night, it worked out really well. And sometimes it doesn't work out in your favor, but you say, okay, I'm glad we're 2 hours behind now, or I'm glad you guys are 2 hours ahead. And so our day will be done earlier. Starts a little earlier, it's done a little earlier. And the other thing I do is I try not to even get on this time. I try to stay on just Eastern time. But yesterday, that was a bad idea because we started the day at like 2 in the morning, and we would have finished at 1 in the morning.
Yes.
So that would have been a full 23-hour day.
Yeah, I was thinking about it.
Yeah. So instead, we went to bed at like 11.
Because my laptop still won't update. I don't know why, but it still says 3:06, which is kind of convenient, so we know what time it actually is in like the real world, and then we're just kind of playing in this fictional time.
All right, Aaron's got a little work to do. We're going to take it from here for the next few minutes. We might even have a guest coming on, as I just got a note handed to me. Cam Smith, South Carolina cornerback, could be joining us.
I got excited. I thought you were going to have Cam Thomas, the super scorer from the Brooklyn Nets.
Oh,
You almost said New Jersey.
I did.
Who?
I was so close. It's been so long saying New Jersey Nets.
Oh, we will talk a little LeBron James. That super scorer of the NBA.
Oh, that
coming
old
up
guy?
in a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Players Tribune, Trevor Lawrence. The guy can write, too.
The guy can write. The guy has good perspective, which I think we kind of knew, but just multiple different parts that were interesting, talking about going from the offseason that he had last year and saying that he heard the noise that was being said, and just going into this season and what Doug Peterson understood, and just kind of breaking down a lot of things. But one of the main takeaways out of many is, I know the point that kind of caught your attention as well, is after last season they weren't sure if guys would ever come to play in Jacksonville because of how bad it was. But also from that, the guys that they brought to Jacksonville, Christian Kirk and Zay Jones, there's multiple different pieces or parts of the article where Trevor Lawrence talks about them off the field after the Detroit game, having a meeting at like Christian Kirk's house and just figuring out what they can do better. So the relationship between those guys, after saying the comment that he wasn't sure if people were going to come and want to play in Jacksonville, I think is pretty incredible.
Yeah, I think that part, there's a few parts in this thing which was well written, and it was to Jacksonville. It was to Jags fans all over the place, but specifically Jacksonville. And we're seeing another player wrap their arms around this city. And I think that we talk about this quite a bit, but I don't think you can talk about it enough. I've done this already a couple times this week. You can't talk about it enough. We're living in a time where Trevor Lawrence the dirt is moving on Trevor Town, as I said. We are seeing the flip of the franchise. We are seeing a dynamic possibility of Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence in town for quite some time. That's what happens. That's what we have here at the Super Bowl with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. That's what we had for 2 decades with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. And I'm not saying it's to that level, but if you can at least be in that conversation, you've got all those things. Well, the other part of it is we've talked about Jalen Ramsey, Yannick Ngakoue, other guys that wanted to kind of say, this might not be the place to be. And now Evan Ingram wants to be here. Arden Key wants to be here. Guys that are free agents about to leave want to be here. We'll see how much guys want to come here and be a part of it with Trevor, because that's the next phase of this, like that Pied Piper effect, where I want to go play with him. And Doug Peterson, I want to go play for him. And he certainly has that cachet around the league. He's a player's coach, and you know what you're going to get with Doug, and I think Doug already has that. And I think Trevor's starting to build that too, that, hey, if I'm an offensive guy, as DeAndre Hopkins said, Jacksonville might not be a bad spot for me. So that part of the article where he said that, I think is pretty profound. Like, I think we've heard it, but I don't think you can sleep on it. That's a big-time change of events. I'll give you another part of this, Kasey. People didn't want to come take this job potentially because Trent Baalke was in the building.
Right.
That was just 12 months ago. And now nobody's saying that. Nobody's talking about that. Come on down to Jacksonville, baby. Be a part of something special. That's what people are saying.
That is what people are saying, and it's probably full circle for Trevor, going from nobody wants to play here, and now everybody wants to play here. But on the point of Doug Peterson, I mean, there's obviously a good document that Trevor has in there talking about how Doug knew from the beginning, and it's stuff that we said, but now to hear from Trevor Lawrence that Doug came in and said, all right, I have to earn the trust of these guys. And these guys need to trust in me fully because what they had down the hall was not good last season. So I think just the awareness and the appreciation that Trevor had for Doug and how that went down with the coaching transition, I think was big.
Hey, we're going to talk more about Trevor in just a couple minutes, but right now we have a special guest, Cam Smith, South Carolina corner, heading into the draft, of course, and he's got a few minutes to sit down with us and talk to us here on ESPN 690 in Jacksonville, by the way, who might be looking for a corner. Your smile says it all. You might know that. I think you might have some upcoming conversations with those Jaguars.
Yes, sir.
How is this so far, by the way? You loving Radio Row, and welcome to the NFL.
It's pretty dope. I ain't never really been around nothing like this. I ain't never seen this many outlets in the same spot.
Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff and a lot of fun, and we get the chance to catch up with guys like you who are ready now for this draft process, which I should be fun, but also very hard, right? I mean, there's a lot that goes on over the next few months. What's your anticipation of it?
Just like this part right here, just starting the training process and stuff like that. It hasn't really been too hard and stuff like that. I mean, I feel like just the waiting game is probably be the hard part.
What do you view yourself as a prospect coming out? Obviously, one of the better corners in the country this year. I mean, do you think you'll fit right in the NFL? We're seeing corners jump right into Sauce Gardner and others in the past be able to, make that transition. Do you think you'll be able to make that transition? Do you view yourself as one of the best corners in coming out?
Yes, sir, definitely. I feel like just coming in, like having basically been in man-to-man for 4 straight years. Like, so I feel like coming in, like, any way they need me to play man-to-man, or if they needed me to play zone, I can do that. So it doesn't really matter. Like, about the scheme or the fit, I can fit in regardless.
Cam, talking about you playing man-to-man and in the SEC with all the good wide receivers, I mean, talk about the talent that you've been up against and how that kind of backs your resume into why it's so impressive. You're not giving up yards and you're going against those SEC receivers.
Yeah, I mean, that's just been prominent since my freshman year, just having Brian Edwards, Shy Smith, even having coming in the summer before that and doing one-on-one with Debo and all of that stuff. So just having that throughout my whole career, just in practice, like prepared me for every receiver that I was going to face.
Absolutely. And talk about a little bit about what you experienced in South Carolina. Times haven't always been great, and then it looks like the program's on the come up right now where you leave it. How is that experience for you?
Yeah, I would say it's amazing to see both sides of it, just to make sure that like you done seen the downs and the lows, and now you can see the highs and like how far we've came and stuff like that, how far the program has came, and just like seeing the boys grow. Like you can see like people really, like you can actually tell how people grow in the men and stuff like that. So it's just kind of fun to see.
Funny, you just walk in as we start our show, and we're talking about Trevor Lawrence, who wrote an article in the Players Tribune welcoming or thanking everybody in Jacksonville and saying, hey, big things to come in Jacksonville for the Jaguars. What's your perception of the Jaguars, speaking of that, who have had some down times but flipped it this year? Did you watch that? Did you watch some of their defense? Guys like Trayvon Walker, who now play on that defensive side that you obviously know well from the college days, and Trevor, who you obviously played against at Clemson.
Yeah, what's the name? I just really see like a very young team that has a lot of promise, that has a lot of dog in them, a lot of players that are going to come play, and like they're not really focused on what everybody else saying, like stuff like that. Because I mean, nobody really thought they would have been in the playoffs last year. Well, this past year.
Give us a sense of where you view yourself on the outside, in the slot. Can you play in there? I mean, can you do it all at the NFL level? Ideally, do you end up on the outside? What do you think?
I want to be the one following everybody around. I want to be, regardless of if it's inside or outside, I want to guard the best.
Cam, who's the guy that when you were growing up and decided to play the cornerback position, there's a lot of talented corners right now. Who do you try to model your game after? Who's the tape you break down and try to look like?
Coming up, I was really heavy on Stephon Gilmore, just coming up.
Okay.
Him being a South Carolina alum. Just was always watching him, just watching the games and watching him make plays and stuff like that. Then coming in and having J.C. Horn in front of me. So just having him in front of me and learning from him every day and stuff like that. Then seeing him make his plays in the league. That's really the two people I model my game after.
J.C. Horn's a good example there coming out of South Carolina, as you are. Like, what's the secret sauce in South Carolina right now to put out good corners? What's going on?
I mean, it ain't really too much about it. It's just kind of a certain dog that you got to have down there. I mean, it's just lock-in. That's all it is.
Tell us about your shirt right now, because obviously you guys come out here and you're pushing something, and what you're pushing is kind of a fun one with Saks, and it's a type of underwear called Drop Temp, which keeps everything cool.
Yeah, keeps your set cool. But they have these new Drop Temp technology underwear that just keep you from being moist and stuff like that down there in that area, and just trying to make sure that we get a good support of it, just trying to get the word out of the new technology.
Well, they talked to you about it because of your football prowess, but also because of your soundbite after you guys beat Tennessee, right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, what was it like when that happened, when that dropped, and everybody caught wind of it?
I mean, really, when it happened, I wasn't really even thinking about it and stuff like that. But then it was really 2 hours later, and that was when I said it was 12 o'clock. So when it was 2 hours later, everybody blowing up my phone oh, you said this, da da da. I'm like, I didn't really think anything of it. I didn't think nothing. I was just talking. I was just regularly talking. So just thought it was regular.
One last one for you. How big was that win in particular for the program, for South Carolina program, where they're trying to go?
It was big, just considering the season that they were having, me guarding Hyatt and seeing the season that he was having and stuff like that. So coming out, we kind of had a little chip on our shoulder, just trying to make sure that we got the job done on the defensive side. And then when we seen the offense coming out, just on hitting on all cylinders, we got to follow suit.
All right, this one's for real, the last one. But you were just over there, then you went over here, now you're over there. I saw you. You've been everywhere, asking all kinds of probably the same questions that we just asked you. But what's the best question you've been asked today, off the wall, that really made you think? It doesn't have to be us, by the way. It's fine.
He asked me what was my favorite Rihanna song.
There you go.
That's a good
That's
one.
all right.
And the
Super
answer
Bowl.
was?
Umbrella.
Okay. I'm not mad at it.
All right, man. You got a lot going on. Obviously, pro days. You got the combine coming up. Assuming you'll be out there. You got interviews, and good luck with the process. It's a long process. Pace yourself now, and maybe we'll see you in Jacksonville in the future.
Appreciate you.
All right, Cam Smith, South Carolina cornerback, of course, and we appreciate him stopping by and the folks for making it happen from Saks. Again, Saks is offering to give drop temp underwear to every player who's entered the NFL draft. No strings attached. Just got to hit up Saks on Instagram, and they will hook it up as Cam did. Did you know the quote, by the way?
Saw it.
Quote, when he said, nothing, just drop your, as his shirt said. I'm not sure what I'm allowed to say, really, but we are still on. But we'll get you in a minute as we take a break here. It's good for Cam Smith stopping by. Hey, listen, Jacksonville wants a corner.
They need a corner.
That's a good corner.
Yeah, it's a talented guy.
But what's interesting is, do you get a guy that's more – is he going to play the inside or going to play the outside when it comes to corner for the Jags? And that's why I asked him that question. Can you do everything? Because you might have to adapt and adopt and just adjust at some point. Listen, Darius Williams did a nice job on the outside. Is Cam Smith, if you were to draft that guy and you end up with him somehow in this instance, does Darius move back to the slot? Do you put a young guy in the slot and eventually move him outside? Because Darius is here for another year on his contract at the very least, but it looks like at least another year for Darius Williams. So I think when you start looking at the cornerback position, there's a couple of questions to ask. One is, can they play both positions? And he said, yeah, I can be the guy chasing everybody around from both sides. And where do you feel more comfortable? Where do you see him? And what the Jags did with Trayvon Walker. Trayvon Walker can play like 3 different positions. But where do you want to put him and let him grow there and put him in a position to succeed? It's what they will ask if they draft a corner early on that they anticipate will be their starter from day one at one of the positions. We just know this. He's not taking Tyson Campbell's spot.
He is not. He's not taking Tyson Campbell's spot. But when you talk about Darius Williams, right, we saw him on the inside earlier in the season, so we know what he's capable of. And if you feel like a Cam Smith-type player can fit on the outside for you, then, you know, whatever works best. But, I mean, he was just sitting here with us. He's long now. He ain't going to have a problem, you know, deflecting passes, making plays. So we'll see what happens at the combine and all that. But
he's not super big, though. Any concern?
Yeah.
Long, big. I mean, like Tyson's a sneaky physical corner.
Yes, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Jalen, as we knew him, as one of the top corners, physical. Sauce Gardner, physical. Will that be a knock on Cam Smith? Length is good, but in terms of physicality,
right,
can you make the tackles at that level? Can you jam at the line of scrimmage stuff? I wonder if that will be a knock on him as we go through this process over the next few months.
Possibly. But, I mean, we'll see what happens with the combine, right? Because that's where people start jumping up and down draft boards, and the physical nature will be important. But he held his own in the SEC, and that's a conference full of, a conference full of really good wide receivers.
Well, that's a good point. Hey, Aaron, as we bring you back in before we break, hopefully you get close to a microphone. I just got to bring you in on this side of it because, it's kind of fun. Cam Smith, what happens on Radio Row is a lot of these guys are endorsing something, right? And they're bringing by and they're talking about. Sometimes it's a good cause, sometimes it's a product. And this Saks underwear was just dropped off to us.
It was.
By the way. And
are we going to get Casey to model those or what?
Like, I don't know. One of us, we do the Tom Brady thing where, like, you model the underwear.
That is such a great idea.
How many likes would it take for Casey to model the underwear?
Listen, nobody in the audience is going to think it's weird if Casey strips down to his underwear in the hotel room and you're taking some photos. I certainly won't call everyone I know at the hotel and ask them to come up to the room to go check it out.
By the way, if your quote of the year, and one of the quotes of the year is nothing, just drop your... I want to be a little careful with this, but you get what I'm saying. I am a little scared with this line. I was like, we say other things, but it's like, I don't know. You get what I'm saying. Fill in the blank, right?
I kind of like this job.
But this Saks thing, like, I give them a major shout out for finding the guy that said that, and for having them be the brand endorser.
Yeah, that's
for it. That's sometimes there are fits and sometimes there are fits.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and snug fits. Yeah.
Hey, keep them cool, folks. With Saks. You can check them out on Instagram and other places. SAXX. Appropriate name is Saks. All right, we're going to get back to the Trevor Lawrence conversation. But, hey, appreciate the folks for letting Cam Smith stop by. And I guess word on the street when we asked about him is he had been talking Jacksonville a little bit. Jacksonville's on the radar. And you got to believe he'll be on the radar of the Jacksonville Jaguars coming up throughout this whole process over the next couple of months. We take a break. We talk more Trevor and the Players Tribune. We talk LeBron James. How big of a moment was that last night? How cool of a moment was it in sports? And how much should we appreciate these kind of moments? Like, what's next? What's the big next record that's going to be broken? Feels like everything's being broken in sports when it comes to these long-time, historic, and meaningful moments. We are live on Radio Row, Phoenix, Arizona, here on a Wednesday. Chiefs and Eagles will play on Fox on Sunday. Of course, you can watch it locally on Fox 30. Our coverage all week long from Arizona, presented by Bolt City Heating and Air, Fields Auto Group, Davoli's House of Cards. We'll be back on ESPN 690.
Now, the first alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Partly sunny, very mild today. Highs in the upper 70s, mostly clear into the 50s tonight, and a partly sunny and warm Thursday. Highs tomorrow, 80 to 85. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish. Join me today beginning at 5 p.m. on CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jax.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds, proud to offer a huge selection of both lab-grown and natural diamonds at the lowest prices guaranteed.
Victim of a slip and fall? It takes one phone call to take back control of your life. Anajar and Levine will fight to get you the compensation you deserve. Call me, Mark Anajar, for a free consultation. 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
Main office, Jacksonville.
The Gun Show is back at the Maxwell Snyder Armory on Normandy Boulevard this Saturday and Sunday. Buy, sell, trade, and browse a huge selection of guns, knives, ammo, and more. Doors open at 9 a.m. See you at the Gun Show.
If you're still wondering why you should buy from Arlington Toyota, maybe this will help. How about peace of mind? When you buy any new Toyota from Arlington, their lifetime warranty goes with you. That's unlimited time and miles. Plus, there's Arlington's 30-day exchange program. That's 30 days to love your new purchase or exchange it. And Arlington goes the extra mile by extending your Toyota Care coverage to 3 years or 36,000 miles. Now you know why you should buy from Arlington. Shop in person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, and online at arlingtontoyota.com.
Look around you. There's history being made. Has been. Will be. Just something about those blue skies, high banks, and high speed, all coming together in one perfect race. And it'll be here sooner than you think. The Daytona 500 at Daytona International Speedway, February 19th, 2023. Get your tickets now at DayTona500.com.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action. Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
Right now, American Window Products is offering the newest features in window technology with Ultra Dual Low E glass and insulated vinyl frames with magnet weather stripping on windows for an airtight seal to help reduce your energy usage, all at an affordable price. This exclusive offer is for a limited time, so act now to save big with 12 months zero interest financing. Schedule a free estimate at AmericanWindowProducts.com. American Window Products, the window professionals. Financing at time of sale for new orders only.
Time is running out, guys. You're in the fourth quarter and need a score. Valentine's Day is just around the corner. Don't wait until the 2-minute warning. Well, it's almost here. Get to a Peterbrook Chocolatier shop and get it done. Shops all over Northeast Florida. No stress. It's easy. Hey, you know me. The worst buy on a holiday is a card. So forget the card and get the chocolate. I already know you love it. She'll love it too. Chocolate-covered wine bottles, strawberries, pretzels, custom baskets. They've got it all. It's an easy play call for a win on Valentine's Day. Peterbrook Chocolatier has been doing this for 40 years. A play call from you to her, made with love. But time is running out.
Rich Jones here. If you're an investor who's interested in doing well while doing good, getting solid returns on your investments while making a positive impact, consider investment funds with DLP Capital. Here's Don Winter, CEO of DLP Real Estate Capital, to tell you more.
With the current housing shortage in the U.S., investing in real estate, especially workforce housing, is one of the safest and most reliable places to invest. We invest in affordable housing for hardworking people and generate amazing returns for each of our investors.
To get your investor's guide and find out more, dial ** invest from your cell phone or visit highyieldreturns.net.
Fields Auto Group is a proud sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and buying or leasing a luxury car on the First Coast is easy with Fields Auto Group, Jacksonville's luxury auto group. Lexus of Jacksonville and Orange Park, Mercedes-Benz of Jacksonville, Orange Park, Jaguar Land Rover Jacksonville, Porsche Jacksonville, and where my wife leases her car from Fields Cadillac Jacksonville and St. Augustine. If the luxury car you want isn't in stock, no problem. Fields Auto Group will order it and at a fair price. So stop by a Fields store today and see what world-class service really means. FieldsAuto.com.
Dave Benyon with Zero Res. It may be cold outside, but at Zero Res, we are heating things up. Right now is the hottest price of the year. 3 rooms of carpet clean for $147, and the 4th room is free. That's right, the 4th room is on me. In 2022, Jacksonville Zero Res was named #1 in the country for customer service. Google Zero Res and read from over 5,000 5-star customer reviews. Remember, February is the hottest price of the year. 3 rooms of carpet clean for $147, and the 4th room is free. Zero Res spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Do you have what it takes to become a successful entrepreneur? How much do you know about marketing, finance, and business planning? Are you interested in learning more? Then we invite you to take part in the Achieve Your Business Dream workshop offered by SCORE in conjunction with the Jacks Chamber. Conducted over 4 consecutive weeks, this workshop provides invaluable information on a range of business-related subjects. If you'd like to learn more about how to enroll the next time this workshop is scheduled or any of the others that SCORE offers, visit the Take a Workshop tab at jacksonville.score.org.
It's time for Speed Weeks at Daytona. ESPN 690 has your chance at tickets, and one lucky winner gets tickets to the Daytona 500 on February 19th. Play our Daytona trivia game on ESPN690.com. Answer correctly, and you could win. Purchase your tickets today by calling 1-800-PIT-SHOP.
Back to Radio Row here in Phoenix, Arizona. Once again, our coverage all week long presented by Fields Auto Group. Fields Auto Group, a proud sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars. FieldsAuto.com. Of course, my wife's been leasing a Cadillac from Fields Auto for the last few years. Gonna go renew that thing coming up in September. Fields, buying or leasing a car in Jacksonville is the best with Fields Auto Group, Jacksonville's luxury auto group, and you have several locations and choices. Lexus at Jacksonville and Orange Park, Mercedes-Benz at Jacksonville and Orange Park, Jaguar Land Rover Jacksonville, Porsche Jacksonville, Fields Cadillac Jacksonville, and St. Augustine. Welcome back to Brent and Friends on ESPN 690. Good to have Cam Smith stop by, and we kind of interrupted our Trevor Lawrence conversation, so let's pick back up on that before we get some LeBron James conversation as well here on a Wednesday from Super Bowl 57. Brent Martineau, Kasey Kurtz, Aaron Schachter, and we were talking about just the idea that people want to be here and that Trevor now kind of sends this message of, hey, this is what it's like in Jacksonville. See, he's the one being the spokesperson for it, Kasey. I think that's the significance here. It's great that once you're in it, you want to stay in it. Evan Ingram, Arden Key, guys like that. But now when you have Trevor Lawrence, who I believe, if I was his people, if Urban Meyer had stayed, I might have been about this time saying, we might want to start planning to get out of here. And then they make the move with Urban. Obviously, Doug comes in. It's fantastic. They really take off. His development takes off. And now he's like, this is my place. And so good to hear from everyone, really, but especially Trevor Lawrence. Didn't you just ask me, like, last night, weren't we talking about this? Like, what do you think happens when his contract runs out, when it's time to negotiate with him? Like, how hard is that going to be? Well, this article right here may have just made it easier as long as there are no crazy bumps in the road.
Yeah. I mean, I know that after reading what Trevor said, right, he's committed. He wants to be in Jacksonville, and that was never the question I had. But, you know, unforeseen things happen, and quarterbacks don't go to the free agent market as well. But, you know, it's good to hear him confirm and lock in that, hey, he's locked in here and he wants to build it. Marissa is obviously extremely involved in that as well, and she's on board, as he says in the article. So you got to appreciate the awareness he has for the city and the fan base and kind of understands what he means. When, like, every quarterback knows kind of who they are and, you know, what they mean, but for this city, that's extremely important.
Aaron, this is a city you've been in for a long time, and you know it. The Jags have been bad. People have taken shots at Jacksonville, whether it's because the Jags are bad or not. You know, whether you live here, they don't know it. We talked about this a few weeks ago. In Jacksonville, we almost laugh at it now. It's like, well, you're missing out. I hope you think that way. But look at all the people that have moved into Jacksonville. Look at all the people that moved back to Jacksonville. Look at all the people that love Jacksonville because they know what it is. They've experienced it. The outside world, and we do this with other cities too, by the way. We've brought up Cleveland and Buffalo. The people that live in those places, they're proud of where they live, and they don't view it the way the outside world sometimes look at it. But at times, Jacksonville has been viewed in that same kind of context. And now I think people are like, yeah, whatever, we'll be on the beach. How many times do you see when somebody says Jacksonville's not great or whatever, you see all this Twitter activity about tweeting pictures from the beach. Right. You know, you see it all the time. And so the bottom line is that does exist. And here you have maybe one of the future stars of this football league, the most powerful engine that exists in sports in our country. And he is the number one overall pick. He's the face of the franchise. He's brought here to change it. We talked about the Manning kind of impact that he could have earlier this week on the city of Jacksonville. And he's the one being the spokesperson. You don't need the mayor to go say it. You don't need Chamber of Commerce to go say it. You don't need us to say it. He's the guy that loves living here and says, come on down. Here's the place to be in the NFL right now, Jacksonville, Florida.
It's interesting because we talk about Trevor Lawrence as being a generational talent, but we've also talked about how the Jaguars making the playoffs is important to grow and recruit the next generation of fans. I got to imagine Trevor is almost as important, if not more important, than the playoffs in that respect. Because Trevor can recruit the next generation of fans, whether they're little kids or just people who have never thought to look at the Jaguars before. The man is beloved on the national stage, and that's only going to grow as his game grows.
Here's the quote from the article, by the way, in the Players Tribune. That's what we're talking about. If you haven't seen it yet, you should go read it, playerstribune.com. And I love this. This is something Derek Jeter, your guy, started and helped start. And I really like when guys pen their own stuff. And I want to ask Trevor at some point, I wonder how much does he write of this and how much does he get help writing it and just sharing his thoughts. But he actually, whoever helped him and how much he did, I don't know that. I'm not saying like he can't write his own article, but I'm sure you get some help along the way.
Right.
Penning this thing. They did a terrific job. I mean, I think it really hit home. I think it registered with a lot of Jags fans today. And this is what he said. One of the things I remember from last season is thinking, quote, how will we ever get guys to want to stay here or even come here? It's only a year ago that I was worried about that. So he admits to being worried about that. And now what I hear is guys talking about how this is a family. I hear guys talking like they know this is one of the best organizations in football, and they wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Like we're building something here for the long haul. And stuff like that, man, ... it feels good. It makes me really proud to be a Jaguar. And, you know, it doesn't just make you feel good, Trevor. I think it makes Jacksonville feel good. I think if you can see the response of this on social media, I think this will play up big today all over the place, and it should play big. Like, again, he is that meaningful to this place. I asked the question I think last week, and then we were talking about it even in the sports office on the TV side, trying to find somebody. When I raised the question of when you look at a person that lives or works or is from Jacksonville, and you bring them to an event like this, has there ever been a person that says, I associate them with the Jacksonville Jaguars or Jacksonville? And Mark Brunell might have been able to do that back in the day as the Jags were in their infancy. I don't know if, like, Fred Taylor did. I don't even know if Tony Baselli, like, when you saw him, you might even be like, I think that's Tony Baselli, like, because he was a left tackle, you know? Mark Brunell, I think, is pretty visible as the quarterback. Tom Coughlin, I'll give you that. People associate him with the Giants. He won 2 Super Bowls. I mean, he should be more associated in many respects with the Jags, but they do associate him with the Giants because of the Lombardis. And so there could be a mix. Trevor Lawrence, people are going to look at him and they'll associate with Clemson, and they associate with the Jaguars. And now Waffle House, probably. but I think that's what they do. Somebody brought up Leonard Skinner in this conversation.
That was Aaron.
And that was a great call. I think it was Aaron.
It was actually
but
Glenn.
Even I
stole it from Glenn, yeah.
Yeah, but even I said in that, okay, you're an outsider who loves Leonard Skinner. Do you know they're from Jacksonville, or do you think they're from Alabama because of Sweet Home Alabama?
Alabama.
You know? Like, so I don't know, but that's a good call, by the way. My point is not lost here that few people you look at, you see in the public eye nationally, and you think, Jacksonville. Well, he's the guy. He's the guy for the next 10, 15 years, hopefully. He's definitely the next guy for probably the next 6, 7, 8 years. And that's the other part of this. You know he wants to be here. He's going to be here. And now they just got to keep things cooking, Kasey.
They just have to keep things cooking. And how do you continue to get better? Because we're not sitting here talking about them playing in the Super Bowl. So how can they get better with the players they currently have? Where can they upgrade outside of the draft? Do they have money to bring guys in? But when you got players that want to come and play for your team, it's great, but it also complicates things because we're talking about DeAndre Hopkins and we're talking about T. Higgins and all of these guys where could you upgrade? Probably, but is it reasonable? Probably not. So there's that balance as well that you have to deal with. It's great to have players want to be there, but the question is how can they get better realistically?
Yeah, Aaron, the other thing that we talked about with this football team this year that I thought was pretty cool in this article that he put out there, and he says this, our guys, we have no quit. You can call that cliche if you want. I don't care. I was there. I've lived it. I know what I've seen. I know what we did. And there's this attachment to the city right now with this football team. I've said it many times over the last few months, and that was even before they went on the run. It's a likable football team. It's a likable locker room. We could bring almost any player on, and you're like, I like that dude. Like, that is the way they are. And you could feel that. You could feel it hurt so much in Kansas City when they lost because they were so tight and they wanted to go to practice another day. I don't think that always happens in professional sports or any kind of sport. But then this other part where, it is cliche. We have no quit, don't quit, all those things. Certainly is. But I think they were exemplary of it. I think they showed that. 17-0 down, 17-0 down. Even the Chiefs, when they lost, they were down 17-7. They were down 20-0 early in the season. The Chargers game showcased that. Like, you can say that, but not many people really believe it on a sideline. This team had 2 qualities, Aaron, that I think did play through, that hammered home, and that also made the players enjoy each other and the fabric of the football team so much. And that was, they really did believe that they could win in almost any circumstance, and they really enjoyed being around one another.
Yeah, I mean, no quit in the game, but no quit on the season either. At 2-6, you tell me another team that's in the locker room going, we're going to the playoffs. Ain't happening. It wasn't anywhere else in the league that you were going to find a locker room that confident in their abilities. And it all started with Doug. And Trevor knows it, and clearly he's appreciative of it.
Well, that's the other thing he raises. He talks about Doug a lot. And Rich Eisen had him on yesterday. He's doing a lot of the national guys. And part of the conversation yesterday with Eisen was Doug, like how they hit it off right away. And in that context, I don't know if you heard it, Kasey, or not, but I was listening to at least a clip from Eisen, and he asked him about Urban. He's like, would you basically have been able to develop like this if Urban had stayed? Now, Eisen hates Urban.
Right.
He's a big Urban hater. But it was an interesting question, and I thought Trevor was brilliant in it. He said, man, you really put me in a tough spot, which already showed you that, no, he probably wouldn't have developed. But then he answered it like, I'm grateful for Urban because he brought me here and all those things.
Because I got Doug because of it.
And probably because of that, too. But he did admit in that context, just in a nice way, that, yeah, I think
It didn't.
I think we have Doug, and he's better than a lot of people, not just Urban. He's just better than a lot of people, and we're thriving because of that. I'm thriving because of that. I thought it was a great way to answer, but it's also a heck of a nod to Doug Peterson.
Yeah, it is, and it's just incredible still how bad the thing went with Urban Meyer. But, yeah, they don't get to Doug Peterson if they don't fire Urban Meyer. And that comes back to Shad Khan announcing, 14 weeks after into the season, the first season, that he made a bad decision, a really, really bad decision. So that gets lost at times, should be appreciated even though he made the mistake, but he corrected the mistake that really would have set the franchise back if Urban Meyer had stayed, and Trevor Lawrence at this point in time, who knows if we'd still even have him on the Jags because of how toxic that relationship was.
Yeah, I think certainly the development wouldn't have happened for Trevor Lawrence to the degree it happened. How would he have pulled himself out of the weeds? And I think he might have been on the way to ruining one of the top talents that we've seen come into the NFL, and obviously still has that talent. Aaron Schachter, I think that's a part of this, that this whole Doug relationship and Trevor relationship, I can't imagine it will always be perfect, but it's off to a hell of a start, and that is really important. And you're talking about two guys that are, I think, pretty genuine and good guys. They're very faith-based guys, too. I think they have that in common. There are commonalities here that set this up to have some future success because of Peterson and Lawrence that you just were not going to get in Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence. I told you this story many times before, Aaron. Go up to Cartersville. They weren't concerned about Trevor Lawrence playing in the NFL and being good. They were concerned about Urban Meyer. And you know what? Those folks up in Cartersville that were worried about that,
rightfully so.
They were right.
Rightfully so to be concerned. And, another positive, and maybe Casey's the bad example as a mid to young 20-somethings, but usually when you have a younger person that you're working with, they're still a little bit more idealistic, a little more open. Trevor, obviously, real high positivity guy. Doug seems like a real high positivity guy. So to match those two together at this time in Trevor's life is going to be so much more impactful than if Trevor ran into Doug at age 35.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And by the way, so much of this has to be really a nod to Trevor. He's a super mature 23-year-old kid. Like, you just don't find it, and it's hard. But he had to grow up fast. He was in the limelight. He was in the spotlight. Obviously, his parents raised him well, too, like all those kind of things. But I don't care if your parents raised you well or not. Handling what you got to handle at 22, 23 years old, that's not a reflection always of your parents. That's hard, man.
Well, especially being a football star. That's not normal.
No, nothing of this is normal. And I think we take it for granted. And I think we have to remind ourselves how good he is in these kind of situations, how good he was last year, that I was calling for him to talk 3 times a week instead of Urban and make Urban talk 1 time a week. He was the adult in the room. He was the guy people wanted to lean on. He was the guy that every time Urban said something, did something, or something went wrong, Trevor talked on a Wednesday, and you were like, okay, I feel a little bit better about the organization today, at least for the next few hours. Like, that's what we said about Trevor Lawrence, and I just don't think you can ignore that. I think you have to, at 22, 23 years old, to be able to do that and be that guy. That is not normal. That's as abnormal as being 6'6" and being able to move the way he does, be able to throw it the way he does, be able to throw that 58-yard dime in Kansas City that Christian Kirk couldn't catch. But, like, that's not normal either. But his off-the-field stuff and his attributes, I think, are not normal. Maybe there's a few out there, certainly not a lot like that could handle some of the situations he's already been in. One last thing about Doug Peterson in the coaching aspect. Listen, say what you want about Dabo Swinney, but I think he's a good coach. He's obviously done a good job with that Clemson program. So he knows what good coaching is, good leadership is, good culture is. And he felt that. And I'm sure he felt it to some degree in high school, but he really felt it at Clemson. And they helped build that and foster that. And I think now Trevor has a chance with Doug Peterson to feel it again and now be the guy leading the charge, maybe even more so than he could have done in college. Let's get to Steven. He's hanging around on the line. Wants to talk a little bit about the Jags. What's happening, man?
Hey, not too much, guys. How you doing today?
We are fantastic.
I saw a tweet earlier, and I just wanted to get your thoughts on it. I don't know if it's real, but I forget who put it out there. Juwan Taylor asking about $15 million a year. Less than I thought he wanted. But, I mean, would you guys consider doing that if you were able to make room?
Thanks, Stephen. Appreciate it. I thought the number on Taylor from a franchise tag thing we've talked about was like $18 million. When what was that? The Pro Football Focus stuff that we did last week on the free agents. I think when they projected it, it was like 14.75 or something like that per year. And I was a little taken aback by that, too. I was like, well, that's not as much as I thought it might be for a right tackle. So if he's in that neighborhood, let's just say in the $14, $15 million range, does it become more doable than shelling out something like $18 million per year? Well, I would say absolutely. The Jags are not in a friendly situation given the cap, so any amount of savings is a good savings. I don't know if it's a difference maker between going a long-term deal or not, but it certainly makes it more common sense to go long-term deal than franchise tag when you could maybe get a guy for, let's just say, $14.5 million for a long-term per year than you would for $18 million on the tag.
Yeah, I mean, I think they should do what they have to do to bring him back regardless. But, yeah, I mean, if the number is 14 whatever, 15 whatever, yeah, absolutely. I think you try even harder to make it work because he earned the deal in his pass blocking last year. I know the run blocking is still something to work on, but, I mean, the pass blocking was elite. If it makes your team better, you make it work, and making their team better is protecting Trevor Lawrence. So it's as simple as that. And, yes, the music is playing.
We're live, Radio Row, Phoenix, Arizona. We will talk more Jags when we come back, and also a little bit about LeBron. History made last night. What does it mean, and what's the next big record that gets broken? Coming up on ESPN 690.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet, now open in St. Augustine.
I'm Mark Anajar.
I'm Glenn Levine.
I'm Ellie Anajar.
Together, we're Anajar and Levine.
If you've been hurt in a car crash, we'll fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve.
Call Anajar and Levine for your free consultation. 1-800-747-FREE.
Main office, Jacksonville.
A tune-up by Wake Off's Cooling and Heating will extend the life of your air conditioning system, avoid costly repairs, and lower costs to keep your home comfortable. Wake Off's will perform a multi-point seasonal system tune-up and inspection for just $59 as soon as today. Plus, every Wake Off's tune-up is backed by their industry-leading no-breakdown guarantee. Call 904-204-3214 or book at wakeoffeasybook.com.
Jacksonville is a great place to live. And if you love where you live, you should invest in it. That's why more and more people bank with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. We invest every penny back into North Florida, backing the very best small businesses, nonprofits, and of course the family home. Why put your money with some big out-of-state bank when you can invest in where you love to live? One-to-One Financial. We're your hometown credit union. Sign up today at one-to-one-fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
It's go time at UNF Arena for the Ospreys as the calendar is flipped to 2023. ASUN action is underway in men's and women's basketball on the campus of the University of North Florida. If you haven't seen a game courtside or from the new suite, it's one of the best seats in Jacksonville. Swoop with the Ospreys as they build toward a run in March. Buy a ticket, see a schedule, get a score at unfospreys.com. Be a part of the momentum at the University of North Florida. Hoop it up, swoop it up, unfospreys.com.
I'm Edmund Denfeld.
And I'm Lindsay Thompson. Thank you to the players for supporting Flagler Health Plus and the St. Johns County School District and leading the BRAVE program, which encourages youth to be resilient and voice emotions.
It's 27 days until the players.
We've never had a show like this. The Jax International Auto Show will be bigger and better with more entertaining experiences than ever before. Concerts, wine tastings, ladies' night, and military deals. New cars, trucks, and SUVs. See vintage classic cars and muscle car displays. Test ride new cars. There have never been more great choices to match your lifestyle. Come to the Jacksonville International Auto Show, February 16th and 19th at the Prime Osborne Convention Center. Visit thejaxautoshow.com now.
Every piece of land has a story. Some write theirs behind the wheel of a John Deere 1 Series tractor, like the Upshaws.
This is my tractor, Penny. It's all about attention to detail.
But the Nelsons love cruising around their expansive Montana ranch in their John Deere Gator UV.
We've been here since 1868.
While the Caggianos drive a John Deere zero-turn mower to keep their Long Island brewery looking sharp.
Don't call me, don't bother me. I'm going out to mow for a couple hours.
Run with us and start telling your story. Learn more at johndeere.com/radio.
Chris, this needs to go to Parkville by 3.
Joy to the holiday packages that keep coming at Jimenez Couriers.
Coming your way, but the drop-off location is changing.
She needs delivery drivers with the gift of punctuality.
Anyone looking to pick up some overtime? anyone?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Meet Joe A,
Hi.
Joe B,
Hello.
and Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with AutoSave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect, support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Milk, eggs, $42. Ma'am, you okay?
Need bucks? With Jackson Hewitt, don't wait weeks for the IRS to send your tax refund. Come in now for up to $3,500 with a no-interest, no-fee refund advance loan when you file your taxes. That's up to $3,500 today. Don't let high prices get you down. When every dollar matters, it matters who does your taxes. So get to Jackson Hewitt today. For eligible clients, loans by Republic Bank and Trust Company. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Touch a Truck is back. Join us February 25th at 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. with fire trucks, food trucks, police cars, and more. All at Brooks Family YMCA off Centurion Parkway. For more info, visit ESPN690.com and follow us on Facebook at Touch a Truck Jacks.
Hey, welcome back to Radio Row. Once again, our coverage this week presented by Fields Auto Group, Tivoli's House of Cards, and Bold City Heating and Air. BoldCityAC.com. Obviously, the temperature's about to spike as we head into the spring. Make sure your AC is working. Get a tune-up for just $97 with Bold City Heating and Air at BoldCityAC.com. Brent Martineau along with Casey Kurtz on Radio Row. Super Bowl 57, Phoenix, Arizona. Good to have Cam Smith stop by. We'll have a conversation with Clay Harbor coming up in just a little bit. More interviews to come all week long. Trevor Lawrence, the big story today, as he released an article in the Players Tribune. We just talked about that for the early part of the show. We'll get back to it. In fact, we might have story time from Aaron Schachter coming up a little bit later tonight on the show.
I'm excited.
That could happen. I can't wait. I don't know if you know about it, but I can't wait for it. I hope it happens.
I got it all scheduled here.
So that could be on the way. And
I must have missed something.
Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton coming up at the 6 o'clock hour. We do hope to catch up with Trevor Lawrence later this week. We're working on some things. Zay Jones should be out here too, hoping to do that, working behind the scenes to make it happen. And we might stop by TPC Scottsdale, and I think if we do, we could run into Christian Kirk. He might be out there. My guess is Trevor's probably going out to that too. With Kirk. Kirk still has a place here in Arizona.
Are you guys going to play any golf while you're out there this weekend?
No, it's so funny. People ask me, like, you bring clubs? Or you renting them? I'm like, no, and no, and no. We're not playing. Now, I would say this. On Saturday, if I was staying, I'm coming back Saturday.
Yeah,
Casey's staying through Sunday. I could probably try to do that on Saturday. But here's the other thing. I better have really good friends, because how much do you think they're jacking up the rates during Super Bowl week to play golf?
Totally.
I've played, I think it's called Phoenix Country Club before, and they used to have a Champions Tour event, if I'm not mistaken. And that's a beautiful course right downtown Phoenix. And that was awesome to play that. I mean, you were right in the middle of downtown, one of the old clubs, as I remember seeing it when I was in Phoenix the last time. Aaron Schachter back in the studios. Let's get to South Beach Gary real quick before I forget about him. I think wants to talk a little Lebron James, as we saw a major record go down in sports last night. What's up, South Beach Gary?
Yeah, three quick things, Brent, if you don't mind. First of all, you don't have to be the checks and balancer of the show. LeBron's misstep of the decision was not his only misstep. He behind the scenes got Tyronn Lue fired as the Cavs coach because of his belly aching. And the other two things, guys, excited to see Zach Thomas be elected the next Miami Dolphin in the Pro Football Hall of Fame tomorrow night. And, guys, I was looking over the cap where the Jags are like a staggering $32 million over the cap. So, guys, I don't see how they're going to be able to keep him and get him in position unless they make some moves with Christian Kirk's contract, maybe Shaquille Griffin's contract, some of the more expensive contracts. See how they're going to be able to get below the cap and do the signings they want, and as well as free agency. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks, South Beach Gary. I think we can all ask that question, but we're looking at like a Saints team that is like $60 million over the cap, and they're looking into bringing Derek Carr in.
True.
So they're going to try to find a way. Teams find ways, and the Jags will have to find ways. Sooner or later, there might be cap casualties. I'm not thinking this year. Well, your cap casualties might be guys like Roy Robertson-Harris, or it could be Arden Key you don't bring back. Could be a Jawan Taylor you don't bring back. So there's ways to do it. There's ways to free up money. The Jags will free up money if they really want to, and they try hard enough to do it, as they should, for this year. So, yeah, they don't have the flexibility that other teams have. I get it. But it also doesn't just lock them up from doing anything and running it back with most of the same team or not even trying to get some upgrades in certain positions. I don't believe that at all. As for LeBron James' record, last night it happened. How brilliant was that? I mean, we saw it at 20 points at halftime. We're like, all right, let's turn this thing on, catch the end of it. And by the end of the third quarter, he got it done, Kasey. He was awesome last night.
He was good. I mean, just a legend. And it was a cool moment more so than, like, the actual, like, the way that he scored. Okay, great. But the moment afterwards where they, like, stopped the game and everything, which usually I'm not a big fan of, but I think when you see a player like LeBron get kind of emotional and real about stuff, I think that's a cool moment. So I appreciate him saying the F word on TV. That was dope. And it was a cool moment.
Hey, Aaron, do you have a problem with stopping the game? Like, I saw
actually.
that floating around Twitter a lot. You do?
I do.
You're the worst.
I'm with Kasey. I mean, look,
why?
Night, I get why they did it last night. And when it's like one of the most important records in your sport, I totally get it and I'll forgive it. But
I'm with you if it's mid. It's dumb. Don't stop it.
If you're stopping it for a record that's like, okay, we could have talked about this after the game or recognized the person. Like, it just feels so me first and just annoying.
Yeah, it's not. LeBron James didn't ask him to stop the game.
That's fair.
You know, I mean, they had this set up. I told Kasey this morning, I saw some sound from him. They actually had the backdrop. Like, we have this banner up if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, and I hope you are. But if you're not, you know the backdrops of when players do interviews?
Yeah.
They had one for, like, the all-time leading greitest scorer.
LeBron,
like, they had actually had one made. Like, that's how much they anticipated. So that's called planning. That's okay. And it was in L.A. That's the other. I saw people griping about this, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, really? We get a chance. You don't have to wait another 12 minutes to commemorate it. You actually get to do it in real time, raw emotion. We got LeBron crying because they did it right there. We got LeBron dropping an F-bomb because we did it right there. That's raw, genuine emotion. That's a great move.
It's also a long interruption. And so,
if
it wasn't the most important stat in the game or one of the most important stats in the game, and there are a few that I'd be okay with, but like you know, if it was some other kind of stat, like a consecutive quarters streak or something like that, like, come on, just play the game.
Yeah, listen, I understand it for some of them, but it wasn't. I mean, it was one of the biggest records there is.
The biggest in basketball,
in basketball. And so he did it, and we talked a lot about it yesterday. I was thinking of this, guys, on the piggyback nature of it as we get set to take a break. Just think if you're a kid in today's sports world. You saw Tiger Fun. You got to relive that a little bit after missing it in the early, 2000s. You get to see Tom Brady. I mean, we're talking the next record as we're talking, we'll do this a little bit more later in the show, but Ovechkin is on pace to break Wayne Gretzky.
Yep. In
terms of all-time goals. So, and now you get to see LeBron. If you didn't see Jordan and you're a kid, I mean, you are seeing some, again, Serena Williams, the tennis stars. I'm leaving people out, but you get it. We are living through the greatest era, in my opinion, in sports history. I always thought that was the 40s, 50s, 60s time frame. It's now. Bigger, stronger, faster athletes, and some of the greatest of all time setting new marks when it comes to professional sports. LeBron James, the latest to do it, and I'm not sure anybody's going to catch him because he's going to run away with it. We at the top of the hour, Clay Harbor joins us when we come back. Brent and Friends on Radio Row, Super Bowl 57, Phoenix, Arizona, right here on ESPN 690.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. A day after his former Cavaliers teammate LeBron James became the NBA's all-time leading scorer, Kyrie Irving takes center stage tonight in Hollywood when he makes his Mavericks debut against the Clippers in L.A., 10 Eastern ESPN TV. In Irving, the Mavs have a star to play with Luka Doncic, and together they will form one of the NBA's most dynamic duos, believes ESPN NBA analyst Jalen Rose.
Both of these guys, guess what they make you do? Double team. And you can't double team both of them on the same play at the same time, which means they're going to be able to go one-on-one on a nightly basis, and it's going to be a nightmare for defenses. One of these guys is going to score 35 points every night.
Doncic tonight is out a third straight game with a bruised right heel. ESPN's Andrew Lopez reporting Pelicans forward Zion Williamson out through the All-Star break with an injured hamstring. At his annual Wednesday news conference before the Super Bowl, NFL Commissioner Raj Goodell said today NFL games will now be flexed on Monday Night Football next season, and there could be further flex scheduling on the horizon, even on Thursday nights.
When you're trying to find quality candidates, all the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Shacks presents Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau.
We're going to have to show a little more patience than the year 2 pom-pom people.
Casey Kurtz.
Yo! Well, what are we doing, bro? Come on!
And Aaron Schachter.
I'm all in favor of these two showing their love, really celebrating their relationship. Get him! Get him! Get him! Hit him! Hit him! Yeah! Boom! Jack! Boom! Yeah! Boom! Jack! Boom!
This is Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Casey Kurtz, and Aaron Schachter on Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. ESPN 690.
Hey, welcome back. ESPN 690 on the road in Phoenix, Arizona. Super Bowl 57 coming up on Sunday, of course. Brent Martineau, Casey Kurtz, Brent and Friends on ESPN 690. Aaron Schachter, he'll be back here on the show. All of our coverage this week from Radio Row in Phoenix, Arizona. Brought to you by Fields Auto Group, Bold City Heating and Air as well, and Divoli's House of Cards. And say hello to our Wednesday 4 o'clock friend. And we've got him in that slot once again. It's Clay Harbor, who is partying, talking football, and brand awareness probably is my guess. And asked me, as I saw him earlier, how am I doing on the diet? Not so good, and I haven't hit the treadmill backward yet this time in the hotel.
Yeah, I got to keep you guys on your toes. And, yeah, man, just a big networking event out here with obviously all you media guys just making the rounds. One of my former teams, I know you guys always make fun of me for having played for every team in the NFL.
That's true.
But, one of them was the Eagles.
That's true.
So, I had to be out here and support those guys. And they're actually playing against my old coach, the coach that drafted me with the Eagles. And obviously that's Andy Reid, a former 14-year coach of the Birds. So I think that adds a whole other element to this game. The fact that it's Andy Reid and his 14 years versus the team he used to coach that he's so well known for in the Eagles. So that's another fun gig here.
Give me a legacy play here, right? Because you just brought up Andy Reid. He's been to the Super Bowl with the Eagles, lost. That was in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
He won here with Mahomes and Kansas City a few years ago. He went to one and lost one. Now he's back again. This will be his 4th Super Bowl. You go 1 for 3 in Super Bowls. I don't know how that fits as one of the winningest coaches of all time.
Yeah.
And then you've also got Mahomes. I mean, Mahomes has done it. He's really terrific. But if you only win 1 Super Bowl in this stretch where you're like the best in the business for a 5-year deal, I don't know how that plays out in the future down the road when we're talking about you and the history and the legacy. So feels like a big legacy play for a guy like Mahomes, but especially Reid here this weekend.
I think it's important for both of them because if you go to 5 AFC championship games, you come away with 1 Super Bowl, and you're trying to say you're one of the best in the league, that's tough. Because if you're the best, you're able to. I know they had some weird circumstances with some of these games, but it doesn't matter. What matters when people look back, they don't remember exactly what happened, but they remember who got the ring. And if you didn't get the ring, then it doesn't matter to people. You look at Michael Jordan, when people are talking to him about LeBron, you know what MJ's rebuttal was? I care about rings. I don't care about points. I don't care about, assists. I care about rings, who wins, and if they're not winning, that affects their legacy. Andy Reid's one of the winningest coaches in the league. If he only has one Super Bowl, if you look at a guy like Aaron Rodgers, why are people? What's the knock on him? Knock on him. He's only got one ring. So Pat Mahomes really needs to start separating himself. And if he ever wants to catch Tom Brady being the greatest player, the greatest quarterback of all time, he's got to win. He's got to start now.
He really does. And we've talked to a couple different people this week from different brands, and everyone, when you talk about the game, it's like, okay, the Eagles have this, this, and this, but the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes. Like, that's what it is. And yeah. I keep getting flack from Brian Middleton on Overtime that, like, the Philly defense is legit. Like, they're good enough to slow down Patrick Mahomes. Like, is that the matchup in this game? It is for me, but for you, like, what the Philly pass rush and what that front can do to affect Patrick Mahomes in this game?
You can't blitz Patrick Mahomes. He tears up the blitz. The Eagles don't have to blitz. They got the best D-line in the NFL, one of the best D-lines in NFL history. They had 70 sacks. That's third most sacks in NFL history. Okay, Josh Sweat. That's a guy you don't hear about. Very underrated. Obviously, Hassan Reddick, 16.5 sacks. Brandon Graham, 11 sacks. Fletcher Cox even has 7. Javon Hargrave, 11.5 sacks. The matchup between Joe Thuney, and Javon Hargrave, huge matchup. Then you got, obviously, Hassan Reddick coming off the edge against Orlando Brown or Andrew Wiley. I think Wiley versus Hassan Reddick, that spells trouble. And the other side, you got Josh Sweat versus Orlando Brown, who Orlando Brown's good. He's only given up 4 sacks this year. Andrew Wiley's given up 9. That's a very giving person. You don't want a giving person going against Hassan Reddick. To me, they can slow him down that way. And on the back end of that, you have one of the best secondaries in the NFL. Who has the combined most forced incompletions and most interceptions in the league? The Philadelphia Eagles with 66, according to Pro Football Focus. I'm a big PFF guy, Brent. And you put together this D-line and this secondary, I think that spells trouble. Then you go to the offensive side of the ball. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith versus 2 rookies. These rookies got torn up against, obviously, the Bengals, but I think the Eagles receivers are just as good as the Bengals, Chase and Higgins. So, we'll see what happens.
That's an interesting comment right there, by the way, and a debatable one, of course, with the Bengals receivers and the Eagles ones. But A.J. Brown certainly can hold his own, be physical in this style of offense and really the stylistic nature of this Eagles team. They are a wonderfully assembled football team. You really have to give them credit for what they've been able to do. And what I say is just a grown man's team, and I just feel like that's going to win out unless the Chiefs get up early. Because this is not a knock, but I want to see it. Can Jalen Hurts play from behind? Can he bring them back? If there's a minute 40 to go on the clock and they're down 6, they need a touchdown, can he get you down there? A lot of people can get you down there for a field goal, but can he get you down there and win the game with a touchdown? He hasn't been put in a lot of those situations. They've played from ahead a lot. They've dictated style a lot. Again, without knocking him, he deserves everything he's getting. He's a terrific player, terrific leader. He's been awesome. But I don't know if he's checked that box for me, and I think that's the key for Kansas City. Make him check that box.
Yeah. I don't know if he's done it, but I think he can. And the thing is, if he doesn't do it with his throwing, he can do it with his running. That's the thing that sets him apart. If he's, maybe he's not as confident with his arm, he can scramble. He runs a zone read better than any. I'm a Justin Fields guy, from Chicago. Jalen Hurts runs the zone read better than any quarterback in the league. I'm not saying he's a better runner. He's faster. He is an expert at the zone read, and that will pay dividends in this game. That's one of the reasons I'm picking the Eagles. It's because of zone read. That's hard to stop. If you've got a quarterback like Jalen Hurts that can run it that well, as well as their RPO, so they're going to have plays where it's a zone read. Okay, Hurts can keep it, Hurts can give it, or Hurts can throw the football. That's hard to defend. You can throw the football, you can run it, you can keep it. You can give it to the running back. Those are 3 options on one play that Hurts runs like an expert. That makes it so difficult to stop, and that's why I think he's able to drive down the field, because he's not just sitting back there and having to pick his receivers out. He can scramble, he can do the zone read, or he can do the RPO, which is the run pass option, and give it to one of his receivers that can make plays. So to me, that makes him extremely dangerous going against this Kansas City Chiefs defense that's solid, but I don't think they're elite.
Yeah, I don't think they're elite either. All right, before we let you go here, take us around the other part of the festivities. You mentioned this. You got some work to do. Like, there's career days around here for former NFL players. I thought that was kind of neat, right? They actually have these events and exhibitions, if you will, about come on over and maybe you can be on Fox Sports or ESPN or ABC or NBC, but other different styles of life too, not just broadcasting.
Oh, absolutely. So there's a career fair. The first reason I was coming out here, I already booked my flight. I had to change it when I started doing this media stuff, but I booked it a long time ago for the career fair. A guy like me, I'm getting my MBA, my master's, whatever, but you want to figure out, what do you want to do exactly? They have a big career fair for all the former NFL players, medical device companies, you got financial companies, you got Chase Bank, you got Stryker in the medical field. For me, they got a ton of media corporations there. They got Fox, they got NFL Network, they got Sirius, they got NBC, they got ABC, they got every network you can see. So you go, you bring your resume, you interview with all these players. It's this big career fair to help the former players find something they want to do. And then besides that, there's a lot of NFL events. Like Maxim holds a party. There's a Sports Illustrated party, like Shaq's Funhouse party. There's all these different parties, networking events that a lot of my influencer friends are coming to. I don't know if Brent can get in there.
Probably
a lot of my
not.
bachelor friends.
Probably not.
Yeah, so I'm doing some of that too. I'm doing the career fair. I'm doing the radio row.
Did you get a +1 there?
Oh, yeah, me and Kasey are going.
Nice.
By the way, Kasey would be way better to bring than me. We were talking about this when we saw each other getting coffee. Like, I wouldn't even like it. Like, I wouldn't care.
It's dumb. It's like there's a bunch of people like, yeah, I'm here, taking Instagram stories, just trying to say they made it in the door of the Maxim party.
The red carpet. All it's about is the red carpet.
I'm here, guys.
It's about the red carpet and this right here.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we made it.
That's literally what everybody's doing.
Hey, Clay, real quick, we know you got to go. Something or nothing. Evan Ingram tweeted, "I love New York" today. Something or nothing.
Oh, man, maybe that's something. Man. He's not tweeting, I love New York.
He said, man, I love New York. Or, damn, I love New York.
He wants to go
Still
back.
loves it.
No, you know what it is? Is that the people are now they're saying they want him back because he had a good year. They boot him out of town.
They boot him out of town. They see what he's doing with the Jaguars, scoring touchdowns for Trevor Lawrence. Now they're trying to get him back. Evan, don't listen to him, man. It's all a front. They don't care about you. In Jacksonville, we do. We want you here. Trevor and Doug, that's your home. Don't make us franchise tag you. Sign the deal.
Listen, Kasey was giving you some heat the other day, I think, because you had all your picks for the Chicago Bears. You had Ingram. You had,
I'm glad you brought that up.
Marvin Jones.
You had all the Jags and all the agents.
Arden Key.
Yeah, Arden Key.
Okay, I'm
Jawan Taylor.
I'm watching Eagles, Jaguars, and Bears football, right? So I'm looking at the free agents. I go, these guys can play. I'm seeing them play. These guys can play. If they're not with Jacksonville, why not come to Chicago? I know these guys can play. I've seen them a lot. So, yes, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I did that, Kasey. I know Aaron was probably giving me some stuff too. Tell him I'm sorry as well. But if they don't sign back with the Jags, guess who's got $100 million in open arms? Chicago.
Chicago does have a lot of money. All right, you got the Eagles to get them big, or is it going to be close?
It's going to be close. Patrick Mahomes is going to let it be big, but I think the Eagles by 7.
And after this week, are you going into 4 days of darkness like Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, 4 days of darkness, man, and I'm going to have ayahuasca as well. So it's going to be a real big trip for me.
It's a great segue, Clay Harbor, because coming up next, we're going to talk about which Aaron Rodgers offseason regime would be best for us here on Brent and Friends on ESPN 690. Clay Harbor, have a blast, man. And if you do have an extra party ticket, invite Kasey, not me. We'll be back. Brent and Friends on ESPN 690 from Super Bowl 57, Radio Row in Phoenix, Arizona.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Partly sunny, very mild today. Highs in the upper 70s, mostly clear into the 50s tonight, and a partly sunny and warm Thursday. Highs tomorrow, 80 to 85. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish. Join me today beginning at 5 p.m. on CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jax.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds, proud to offer a huge selection of both lab-grown and natural diamonds at the lowest prices guaranteed.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjax.com.
Right now, American Window Products is offering the newest features in window technology with Ultra Dual Low E glass and insulated vinyl frames with magnet weather stripping on windows for an airtight seal to help Reduce your energy usage, all at an affordable price. This exclusive offer is for a limited time, so act now to save big with 12 months, zero interest financing. Schedule a free estimate at AmericanWindowProducts.com. American Window Products, the window professionals.
Financing at time of sale for new orders only.
Anybody can win at Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino Tampa. One jackpot is paid out every minute on the hottest slot machines and table games. With over $2 billion in jackpots paid out in the last year, you could be the next lucky winner. Seminole Hard Rock Tampa has over 800 rooms and suites, a luxurious rock spa and salon, award-winning restaurants, and an exciting comedy and concert lineup, including pool parties with world-renowned artists. With a variety of gaming, dining, and entertainment options, anybody can win at Seminole Hard Rock Tampa.
By now, you've heard all of our ads. America's largest injury law firm. It means that when you hire us, you get a legal army. When it comes to law, size matters. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
The Gun Show is back at the Maxwell Snyder Armory on Normandy Boulevard this Saturday and Sunday. Buy, sell, trade, and browse a huge selection of guns, knives, ammo, and more. Doors open at 9 a.m. See you at the Gun Show.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE and frustrated taking pills that don't work, Prime Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that effectively treat your problem. 98% of patients experience immediate results during their first office visit. And for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Rubinsky. The physicians at Prime Men's Medical Center offer the most advanced treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Now men are lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Guys, to eliminate your frustration in the bedroom, call Prime Men's Medical Center now to take advantage of this exclusive limited-time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free, and you'll see instant results right in the office. Call now, 904-664-8214. 904-664-8214. That's 904-664-8214.
Fields Auto Group is a proud sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and buying or leasing a luxury car on the First Coast is easy with Fields Auto Group, Jacksonville's luxury auto group. Lexus of Jacksonville and Orange Park, Mercedes-Benz of Jacksonville, Orange Park, Jaguar Land Rover Jacksonville, Porsche Jacksonville, and where my wife leases her car from Fields Cadillac Jacksonville and St. Augustine. If the luxury car you want isn't in stock, no problem. Fields Auto Group will order it and at a fair price. So stop by a Fields store today and see what world-class service really means. FieldsAuto.com.
Leave high-rate credit cards behind with Community First Credit Union. Our Visa Signature credit card makes it easy to consolidate and save with fee-free balance transfers, great low rates, and 1.5% cash back on all purchases. So manage your money your way and just be yourself with Community First. Apply now at communityfirstfl.org. Community First Credit Union. Federally insured by NCUA.
Ask yourself, how often do you go to the second page for the answer to something you are looking for when searching on Google? I asked 10 people and 1 out of 10 said rarely, while the other 9 said never. Websites that are stuck on page 2 or farther never get the attention or web traffic they deserve. Cox Media Group can fix that ranking by making sure that your business is the answer to the questions most people are asking. It's Cox Media Group's mission to help make sure that your business is seen as the trusted expert in your field. Head to cmg.com to find out more, and we'll reach out to you with the next steps.
Touch a Truck is back. Join us February 25th at 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. with fire trucks, food trucks, police cars, and more. All at Brooks Family YMCA off Centurion Parkway. For more info, visit ESPN690.com and follow us on Facebook at Touch a Truck Jacks.
Hey, Mike Norvell has a new contract extension over there in Tallahassee with Florida State. Get to that. And also Aaron Rodgers, the latest offseason recovery program, which is fascinating. Brent Martineau, Kasey Kurtz, Aaron Schachter. We are here, Phoenix, Arizona, Super Bowl 57, and we are on Radio Row where it's happening right now, midweek. Here in Phoenix, Arizona, who does a fantastic job of hosting the Super Bowl. Again, pretty cool day, morning walkover last night in Arizona. I did not expect that, Aaron Schachter. I mean, it must be the Florida in me, but we get some cool temperatures. I thought 70 degrees, and even in the upper 40s and low 50s in Arizona would have like a warm feeling to it.
Well, you get a night chill in the desert. Is it chilly during the day, too? Is that what you're experiencing over there?
Even it's been a little cool on the crispy side.
All right.
Which isn't a bad thing. It's not freezing, obviously, but it's just a little unexpected.
Yeah, it seems like optimal weather for retirees like yourself. However, me and Kasey, the young guns, we're more versatile.
It feels like almost like an oxymoron a little bit. Chilly in the desert.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right?
A little bit.
That's not supposed to happen. Hey, Mike Norvell gets a contract extension. Good for him.
Oh, yeah. Good
and
for
how times have changed. How times have changed in Tallahassee, guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's another. Now that you're talking about another organization that kids want to go to again.
And for a minute there, unfairly too early, saying, well, Mike Norvell's not going to work out. Good thing they didn't fire him. Good thing they didn't do a really stupid decision. And to be honest, if they weren't still paying Willie Taggart, maybe they would have.
That's a very good point. They could have got a lot of pressure. But I even think the fan base and the boosters and everybody else knew that whether they thought that Norvell was the guy or not, they were stuck for a few years being able to do whatever. And that extra year has paved the way for this. Here's the deal. When it comes to Norvell, I didn't have this planned until I saw this extension, but I just think it's a fascinating story. And it actually echoes to Aaron's point, a little bit of what we just saw in Jacksonville. You take last year to this year in Jacksonville, boom. You take last year to this year in Tallahassee, well, there you go. Another boom. It has been unbelievable how times have changed. The feelings have changed. So much so that I believe there'll be a top 10 program going into 2023 in the preseason rankings. Not that it means that much. And Jordan Travis is on a Heisman campaign already for 2023. That's the key to me, Kasey. The development of Jordan Travis, who I really just thought was a guy. I think the development has been right in front of our eyes. It's really popped, and Mike Norvell has to be a big key in that.
I think he is the key in that because, Jordan Travis had moments before, but, nobody was, begging this guy to stay at campus. But for a while there, that's all they had. That's the only option they had, and if they had better options, they would have went with them. But they didn't. And the growth this year it's incredible. It's similar to Trevor Lawrence because Trevor Lawrence obviously is a better football player, but we saw why he was drafted number 1 overall. Jordan Travis went from a guy who was a guy to why he should probably get drafted now. And we'll see what he can do with coming back another year that's already been said, and he will be back, and what Mike Norvell can continue to do with him. The contract extension helps with that, but good day for Florida State. They should be excited.
Yeah, and here's the deal. This is seems kind of wild to me, but he signed his initial deal on December 8th, 2019, now signed through the 2029 season. And in the first paragraph of this press release, it says, which would be his 10th at the helm of FSU's program. That's if he stays until 2029.
Oh, he's not.
That's a long time away. But it's pretty wild to think about how things have changed. And Michael Alford, the new director of athletics, and to get that job done, to do that gives stability for a long time. And again, these things change on the fly. As quickly as he's become, wow, look at this, he could become, wow, look at that. That's just the way it works. He has to continue to recruit quarterbacks. And the other part that he's done a really good job of, I think, is developing just that entire offense. The offensive line has been a lot better since, really for a long time. Even under Jimbo Fisher, that offensive line was struggling. Even when they were somewhat good or at least started to decline, it still was a mess. He's, fixed it, but he's made it better. They bring receivers in, made it better. He has hammered the transfer portal, man. I don't know about recruiting if it matters as much as if you hammer the transfer portal, which is an element of recruiting. He has been awesome in that, and for whatever reason, he knows how to manage that thing.
I think the cool
that's
thing,
not going anywhere.
I think the cool thing about Norvell, though, is that he's been good at both, especially in the last couple of years. Recruitment, getting 4 and 5 stars to come in, especially this 4-star receiver I was just reading about yesterday, and then the transfer portal, which you just mentioned, and then keeping guys on to run it back again. Guys like Jared Verse, who were so strong on the defense this year, coming back. That backfield, keeping it intact. He grew this supremely talented backfield on that team, and he's a wide receivers guy. You talk about the development of Jordan Travis. Could it have been done with a defensive-minded coach? I don't know that it would have. Norvell came in there. He knows the importance of that passing game. Jordan Travis definitely benefited from it.
Here's the thing. Mike Norvell, a big attention to detail guy, and I think they've gotten a lot better in the details, which was certainly lacking with the Willie Taggart era, right? I mean, that was a mess. They couldn't even line up for a football play at times under Willie Taggart, and Mike Norvell has fixed that. The other thing I give them a lot of credit for, and I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but this collective stuff, this NIL stuff, they have had a plan, and they've been on the same page, and it seems like what they're doing is effective. And going to be effective. They're aligned. There's a lot of alignment on the campus of the Florida State Seminoles with their football program and probably other sports too. But good sign for Florida State. Mike Norvell signs a contract extension. Again, I believe they're going to be a top 10 team in the country. How good can they be? Can they get back to a Final Four, threaten for a national championship? Well, that might be on the hands and arm of Jordan Travis, just how good he can be. But he was spectacular last season.
Speaking of Jordan Travis, are you interested in some of these NIL deals out of FSU? Are you curious in these numbers? Because we talked about Jaden Rashada the other day at $13.5 million or whatever that number was. And you got Jordan Travis leading the crew at FSU and NIL at $477.
It's a weird number.
Well, it's probably multiple deals. It just went up $59K in the last couple of months.
So wait, 477 what?
477,000. Certainly not dollars.
Well, and see, like, to me, that's where that probably should be. That lines up to be more what it was meant to be, right? And maybe even more than that. But you're talking about close to $500,000. How much is Jordan Travis doing right now for Florida State University, for their program? He's doing an enormous amount. So he's getting some of that back, in essence, by these NIL deals. I think that is kind of what it's about. It's not about one guy cashing in and hitting the lottery and then moving on or whatever happens to him where you swing and miss. I think it's more about, hey, a guy like Jordan Travis, he's meant a lot to that program, meant a lot to that university right now. And he's getting paid for it.
And to that point, Jared Verse, who was such a big part of that defense, is right under him at 335, and then Trey Benson in that backfield we were talking about at 311. Those are your top three on FSU.
Kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I thought there'd be more for Jared Verse to get him to stay.
There might be. It's just not being reported yet. But I think what really lured him back is the fact that, the team has such high expectations for what's going to come this college football season. And Brent, I know you said the preseason rankings don't really mean much. Obviously, they're going to move around a little bit. But I think it says a lot. I mean, we're talking about a team. When we were talking to Colhane before the last season, we're having the same conversation as the Jaguar conversation. Oh, 6 wins, that's going to be impressive. Yeah. A nice step forward. And then here comes FSU on the cusp of being top 25 ranked for bowl season as the season ended. So I think the high expectations are deserved. I think it's important and a huge step forward for the whole organization and the school that they're going to possibly be top 10 ranked in that preseason ranking. And I would expect to see them in the top 10, top 15 throughout the entire season.
I still go back to that 3-game swing where I thought I gave Mike Norvell a little bit of a hard time. I thought he cost them that, what was the game, that NC State game. I don't think he did a great job in that game. And some of the call, yeah, that wasn't good. And they lost 3 in a row to Clemson, NC State, and I can't even remember who the other one was. Was it Wake? Mm-hmm. Wake. And then they go on the run. I mean, again, when it could have teetered there. After winning 4 in a row, the good win over LSU early, and they lost 3 in a row, and then, boom, they come back and win out the rest of the way to go 10-3. So good on Mike Norvell, good on Florida State. They got it going in the right direction. Hey, and good for us here on ESPN 690. Florida State football, maybe top 10 in the country to start 2023. Andy, you're home for Florida State football right here on ESPN 690 in Jacksonville. Florida State basketball as
Can't tout
well.
That one as much.
They used to be able to tout basketball more than football. Football now more than basketball, and that might be the better formula, by the way, at least in our neck of the woods. Hey, Aaron Rodgers is an odd guy. Do we agree?
It's an understatement, sure. Odd,
he's an
unpredictable, dramatic.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to go with Aaron Rodgers. Almost feels diva-esque at the quarterback position.
Sometimes. A little bit thorny, maybe. Prickly.
I'm smarter than you guys sometimes.
Oh, for sure.
But he also is smart, and he's calculated, and he's brand aware. I think we've had this conversation before where I feel like he's the guy that's very brand aware in today's athletic realm, which pays off. And he kind of gets that. He understands the power of him to the organization, to the NFL, to everything else. And he kind of plays off that. Don't you get the sense it's calculated sometimes by Aaron Rodgers? I mean, we have no idea, but it feels like it.
All the time.
I think everything he does anytime is calculated, including shirts and socks.
He's definitely the biggest troll quarterback in the league.
Yes. There's not one thing that he does that he doesn't plan out every step of the way.
So, what's the other thing that he did in the last couple off seasons?
Oh, he enjoyed some ayahuasca.
Yeah, what is that exactly?
It's like an edible hallucinogen, a naturally occurring plant that you eat and you go on a spirit journey.
Nice.
You learn all about yourself by puking into a bucket and sweating your face off for 2 days.
Is that how that works?
That's what I read.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I mean, like you hallucinate and you reflect on yourself. You're supposed to shed your ego internally, like in your brain mentally, and become a new person, become one with the earth, and realize there are bigger things in the world than maybe your next contract, and then you come back enlightened, and then you go for a tune-up every now and then.
Do we feel like he was enlightened?
I know. I was going to say, did he shed his ego? Did he really shed his ego? Or did
sure
he add
he felt
to
he
it?
did.
Well, he's on with Pat McAfee all the time, and yesterday on Pat McAfee, we actually saw him when they were doing that part of the show. He was not here in person, but I think he was on Zoom or whatever else. And the thing that came out was he's spending 4 days in the dark this offseason.
But what did he call it? He called it like a dark, quiet place or something like that.
Yeah,
so like that movie.
Well, it was so confusing to me. I hear a dark, quiet place, and I think listening to the Frangie show over on 1010, it's like, oh, okay, he's just going to go listen to radio for a week instead of actually work on football in the offseason.
No idea where some of this stuff comes from.
That was the line.
So whatever he's doing, would you want to do it? I kind of was intrigued by it.
Yeah.
Not the ayahuasca or whatever that other thing is called, but this, you go put me somewhat in a dark, cool,
quiet,
calm place for 4 days. Like, I feel like I might feel pretty good after that.
Do you? Because literally what it sounds like is he's going to a cabin with no power, shutting off the lights, and we'll see you on day 5, which to me almost sounds on the level of military torture. Like they do this in jail for guys who act out poorly. They put you
it's
in
called
solitary.
isolation.
Yes. Yes. Like, what is he doing? You're a multi-millionaire quarterback celebrity. You don't have to sit in the dark for 4 days, Aaron Rodgers. Nonsense.
So you're not telling me this isn't like this retreat, this darkness retreat is not necessarily like going to the spa, going like the hot tub, then the cold tub, then back to the hot tub.
That's a different story. That's a different vacation. Get a little rub down, get your tootsies rubbed and all that stuff. Great, fine. Get some rejuvenation, maybe a little facial mask if that's what he's looking for. Great. But sitting in the dark in a log cabin for 4 days while you just think? Oh, please.
So here's the deal. Dark retreats have been practiced for thousands of years, says this article in SB Nation. In the religious tradition, there's a belief that those who master being in darkness can come face-to-face with, what is that word?
Oh, boy.
D-E-I-T-I-E-S?
Oh, deities.
Deities.
Gods. Spirits.
I knew you knew that. Okay. It's also only practiced by seasoned yogi under strict supervision and can last from periods of few hours up to years.
So he's going to have a yoga master there.
Yes.
It's just Aaron Rodgers
yogi.
and
is
the
it
yoga
bad
master
that I think
in
of,
the dark.
Hey, boo-boo, where did you got those picnic baskets?
Brent. What an impression. Masterful.
Hey,
On your
boo-boo,
A.
where did you...
Casey has no idea what you're doing.
I was laughing as I was saying it. I can do it a little bit better.
Well, here's the thing. You could tell you were embarrassed because there were people around you because you went from sports talk voice to Yogi Bear.
So anyway, I guess this darkness retreat is odd. And so what I wanted to do is, you guys are a couple of odd folks. Which one are you picking? The darkness retreat or the ayahuasca or whatever else he's done in the past?
Don't let Casey answer because you know Casey goes on a darkness retreat every time he gets in the shower.
I know. He showers in the dark.
He turns out all the lights and just sit in the shower reflecting on how mad you are and what your life's turned into. It sounds like you and Aaron Rodgers and the yogi would have a fun time together.
We'd be chilling.
You should not shed ego. You should get more of it.
Do you think you're allowed to talk in the dark, quiet place?
Absolutely not.
It's just super quiet, super dark in there, and the yogi beds are, psst, pass the water. Like, it would just ruin the whole vibe.
I don't think you can talk in it, no.
So which one are you picking?
The dark place. 100%.
You are definitely going there.
Yes.
I would, too. But you wouldn't, Aaron, would you?
No, not only am I going on
You want to hallucinate.
Of course. Are you kidding me? Sitting in my hotel room looking at a four-headed dragon come out of the television? How great is that? Normally, you'd pay $25 to go to the movie theater and watch the 3D movie. Instead, you're just sitting in your room. Suddenly, you turn on a documentary on paint drying, and it's the most interesting thing you've ever seen in your life? Come on. I would do it today in the studio if someone gave it to me.
Actually, you may have talked me into it. That does sound kind of interesting.
Of course. Now, I'm not really into throwing my guts up for 3 or 4 days while I get in contact with my spirit and check out the deities. Oh, no, that's the dark place. This is becoming one with the earth. I don't love the vomiting portion and the sleeplessness, and, man, I really hate sweating when I'm inside. But, I mean, certainly better than being bored out of my mind in a dark, quiet place. Guys, when the power goes out and you don't have internet, how much does that suck? Aaron Rodgers going to do it on purpose for 4 straight days. No, thank you.
Yeah, but if everybody talked about you on the internet the way they talk about Aaron Rodgers, wouldn't a dark place be a nice thing?
Yeah, you know what? That's not a bad point.
I got one for you. Is Aaron Rodgers like an example of just people reading too much sometimes?
Oh, like he's seeing too much of these things and now he wants to go try them out?
Yeah, like how do you find all this stuff? You know, like if you're flipping around Netflix or wherever, or if you're on YouTube and you're trying to see this stuff and you're like kind of captivated by like, what is this? I feel like Aaron Rodgers is doing that at home sometimes. And he's flipping around. He's like, not what is this? I'm going to try this.
Yeah, why not?
Like a lot of this stuff resonates with him.
The reality is he's got like a Tempur-Pedic safety net. Like what's going to happen outside of taking something lethal if he's being safe in terms of that? And he's just going on some wild ride for a day or two. Like, what's the big deal? He's still coming home to mega mansions and a career in the NFL and all this other stuff. It seems entirely free and liberating.
I guess. Yeah, I mean, I guess I could get there a little bit, and you do wonder. But, well, see, it's also weird for us because for Aaron Rodgers, like, who's he dating these days? Like, I don't even know. But he doesn't have, like, he doesn't actually even talk to a lot of his family, right? Isn't that the story with Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, they're estranged.
Right?
Yeah.
And so.
They all talk to each other, just not him.
Yeah,
Oh,
and so you have that.
It's because he shed his ego all the time. That's why, yeah.
Like, we wouldn't, like, sit here and be like, all right, I'm leaving for 4 days, guys. Sorry, I'll see you kids in a little bit. I'm going to sit in the dark.
They do that. I mean, there are these retreats that happen all the time. You hear about CEOs going on them and stuff like this. They'll go to Central or South America, meet up with a shaman. Oh, yeah. And as a matter of fact, in some of the major metropolitans, like New York, L.A., Chicago, there are shamans that work in those cities that'll go to your house and do this with you. They'll take you as on a guided journey.
He knows way too much about this. Like,
well, I read about it when Aaron Rodgers was talking about it.
Hey,
Mallory Edens, by the way, is the girlfriend.
And I don't say this like because I'm just saying this out of like ignorance. All right.
All right.
Oh,
where is this on the spectrum of like a Tony Robbins kind of like if you went there for like 4 or 5 days?
Oh, that's
like don't they have like retreats like that?
Yeah. You know, our big boss is a big Tony Robbins fan.
Well, listen, a lot of people are. That's a very successful thing, and a lot of people believe in it. So that's what I'm just asking. I mean, is this in the landscape of that, like, retreat to replenish or to get away or to whatever?
I think they're born of the same thing, but if ayahuasca or sitting in a dark, quiet place is like a 10 on a 1 to 10 scale, I would call Tony Robbins like a 2.
Okay.
I give real therapy like a 4 or a 5 right there in the middle or something like that.
I see. All right. That's fair enough.
Which, by the way, might benefit Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Kasey doesn't seem intrigued by any of it.
I don't know what Tony Robbins is.
Really?
Stop it, Kasey. Stop it.
Don't know.
I'm not a guy that says, like, really, you don't know much. I'm only, to you, I say, I can't believe you haven't seen Good Will Hunting. But, like, there's a really good chance, like, there could be, like, some star musician or actor or actress right behind me, and I would have no idea who they are. So that's why I don't, like, say to people, really, you've never heard of X other than Good Will Hunting. Like, that's a problem. You and Amanda haven't watched that. But, so I can get why you maybe haven't seen the Tony Robbins stuff. But, yeah, it's, like, very, I would say, spiritual, retreat,
self-help.
Leadership.
It's like
self-help.
motivational self-help. It's like, hey, stop calling yourself a loser, Kasey.
I am
Call yourself a winner.
I am unfamiliar with the concept. But
he's also like super famous. One of the more famous guys. He's been in a bunch of movies and like not just his own stuff. Like, he's been in like
was he an
rom-coms.
Oprah guy? Was he like on Oprah? Is that how he got big?
I'm not sure he was.
certainly
I'd have to
don't
look it up. He was in What was that movie where Gwyneth Paltrow is dating somebody, and then he sees all the obese people as skinny and all the skinny people as fat, and you're supposed to see inner beauty or something like that. It was like a rom-com from the early 2000s. I'm asking the wrong people. Never mind. Yeah. I'll ask Google. He was in that movie.
Yeah, it's that new AI thing. See if it works.
I'm still very confused. Because is it a place or is it a person?
It's a person.
Tony Robbins
so you
is a person.
Go hang out with him?
Yeah, like he kind of motivates you. He's a motivational
You go to a
speaker.
seminar. You sit in the audience.
Yeah.
He tells you stuff that makes you really excited.
It's a seminar.
It's like you pay X dollars to
I thought
go.
it was like a retreat.
Well, I mean, in essence, it is, but it's just kind of he's leading the charge. Some people will say
That
like
sounds
he's
awful.
Who was it recently said he's? They say he's like just an unbelievable speaker.
Yeah.
Like his speaking talent is off the charts.
So people go listen to this guy speak, and he literally changes their lives.
Dude, he's he's nearly a billionaire from it.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I know somebody indirectly that's done it, and they since like I have seen. I don't know the whole story, but they like. I think they've like really altered how they view their life to the point where they're like always traveling and going on vacations and stuff. I think they like get the most of it, and obviously they have the resources to do it. But I feel like that kind of was the start of it, like this Tony Robbins retreat, and also people like really believe in it and do all that stuff for it. They'll like go back, like they check it out again. You know, there's different stages of it, I guess.
Yeah.
So made some.
Huh.
It's an experience, I guess.
You learn something new every day.
But why
you
doesn't
learned
Aaron
multiple
Rodgers
new things in the last 5 minutes, Casey?
Are we still doing What Did We Learn?
Yeah, yes.
I'm
Why doesn't
learning
Aaron-
it. You can't see I'm writing stuff down right now. I'm learning things from Casey.
Well, that's going to be mine today.
Why doesn't Aaron Rodgers just go
to see Tony Robbins? It's not a bad idea. Less throwing up, I think. Right? It's probably
But
cheaper.
You don't know.
It's probably cheaper.
It's probably not cheaper if this guy's almost a billionaire.
Well, also Aaron Rodgers doesn't matter what's cheap or not. So he doesn't have to worry about that.
That's fair.
Did you see that Commissioner Roger Goodell talked today here at Super Bowl 57? And we're going to get Monday night flexes and maybe even Thursday night flexes.
Yeah, stupid.
Why?
We should do an over-under on how many primetime games the Jags are going to get this year, because I think
We
they're going
will,
to be
but-
in line for a few.
I think so. We thought that coming off 2017. The difference this year is Doug Peterson and probably Trevor Lawrence in the QB matchups. But we'll get to that probably closer when the schedule comes out. You don't like the Monday flexes?
No, I don't like Thursday.
Oh, you don't mind Monday?
Yeah, I don't care about Monday. How do you flex Thursday?
Well, I think you'd have to do both. I think this is going to be for both in super advanced time. So, like, whatever the run-up is usually to flex, I think you're probably going to have to be even an advanced flex, like 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Because the schedules didn't change. I mean, one of the things about that week, see, we hadn't experienced much of
nobody's
this.
going to be happy about that.
Well, nobody's happy already about playing Thursday night. Imagine getting flexed to play on Thursday night.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think you're just going to cause problems that you don't want. Like, I'm joking here. Like, the teams are going to show up. But, like, if I'm injured and, like, the season's not going well and they're like, hey, you got to play on Thursday instead. I'm like, no, we don't. Like, we're playing on Sunday at 1. We're going to get killed then, not on Thursday at 8 when the audio doesn't even work. Like,
do you think the NFL decided to want to flex more games because of how bad some of those primetime matchups were this season?
bet.
Yeah,
I
but
bet.
were they?
No, the Thursdays were
Thursdays
awful.
were awful.
Thursday
This
was-
year's Thursdays were bad?
was
I mean, there
gross.
was like 1 or 2 decent games, and they were at the end of the year.
You know, listen, I don't think people understand behind the scenes enough, and I'm kind of fascinated with the behind the scenes of the NFL teams logistically. And I talked about this when the Jags made the postseason or were with the Titans game and then the next week when we didn't know they were playing, which days. And that is a mess logistically. And like Goodell and the NFL are like, we don't care. You know, we're getting the best game on and we're going to do this or whatever for our primetime games. But it's a mess. I mean, if you're 2.5 weeks out, maybe the NFL, like how do they book hotels for a Wednesday night when you haven't done it 2.5 weeks in advance? And by the way, the NFL trying to book a hotel, it's not like you and me. Like they've got 100 and something people that have to book a hotel.
And that's not even counting the organizations.
Now, you just put one team out there like it, but I think I told you guys this. Some of the logistics of the postseason that I'm talking about, Tennessee, but especially the next week, like they didn't know if they were playing Sunday or Saturday, a lot of teams, so they had multiple days booked. So it's either costing you money, or you work out a really nice deal where they say, okay, if you don't come this day, we won't charge you, whatever it is. But I'm sure there's some kind of cancellation fee when you're booking that many rooms. So just even the simplicity of that, getting a plane, all those things. I mean, there's a lot of logistics that go into being on the road in the NFL. And then I take it one step further and say these guys are creatures of habit, and they don't like the schedules change. Like, it didn't matter at the end of the day because the Jags beat the Titans. But we weren't lying when we told you Doug Peterson wasn't the biggest fan of having to play on Saturday night.
Right.
They didn't like that.
I would bet you that's the biggest hurdle versus the financial challenges. There's just so much money on the line with the NFL that whatever the figure is, they'll make it work. But the teams probably have to hate it the most. It just ruins everybody's routine.
No doubt. I mean, the fans don't hate it. So, I mean, I guess I get that. But it's a pain. And it's very costly. You're talking about $1 billion industry, so I guess they don't care about that. And the owners, sooner or later, are the ones that have to agree on it, too. And the CBA. So what do you float in for a player, to your point? Like, I don't want to play on Thursdays already. And now you're going to flex me to Thursday without me knowing 2.5 weeks in advance or whatever it might be. Like,
we're not coming.
Again, Mondays are more reasonable, and even Mondays kind of suck because that throws your schedule off as a player.
How dope would it be if, like, the 14-and-something Cincinnati Bengals were scheduled to play it on Thursday night? They're like, we're not coming.
Yeah.
You will lose. Okay.
Well, they'd be in violation of, by then they would have signed it in the CBA and everything.
So we're still the number 1 seed? Okay, yeah, we'll lose twice, actually.
Yeah. This isn't like you showing up to work or not.
Exactly.
I mean,
Casey's
instead of
like,
being
come on,
14-2,
guys,
we'll be 14-4. Like, it's fine.
Like, they might say, okay, you didn't show up. Well, now you're not getting your gazillion-dollar
now
benefits.
You're off
that
the
you get.
team. Good night.
That's a little different. But
uproar against the NFL. Nobody plays on Thursdays.
Well, listen, the Bengals and the Bills kind of did an uproar on that Monday night and determined they weren't playing.
I'm looking back over this Thursday schedule from 2022, and it got brutal for a long time.
They tried to make us watch Bears Commanders.
Look, it started off with Chargers Chiefs. Like, all right, cool. And then just right off a cliff.
All right, we take a break. Radio Row here at Super Bowl 57. Brent Martineau, Kasey Kurtz, overtime with Kurtz and Middleton on deck. We will hear from Chad Henne a little bit later on in the show. We'll also hear from Jimmy Johnson. We'll hear from Howie Long. We'll hear from Michael Vick. So we still got plenty to come here from Phoenix, Arizona. Our coverage once again presented by Fields Auto Group, Davoli's House of Cards, and Bold City Heating and Air here during this week out in Phoenix, Arizona on ESPN 690. The chase for the championship in Arizona, and a winner will be crowned next Sunday. Well, the ESPN 690 is in the desert all week from Radio Row. Brent and Friends, 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton there as well. Action Sports Jacks on the TV side, radio side, social media. At the big game, getting ready for this chase for the championship. And all our coverage from Arizona brought to you by Bold City Heating and Air, Fields Auto Group, and Davoli's House of Cars. See you all week long from Arizona. Fields Auto Group is a proud sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and buying or leasing a luxury car on the First Coast is easy with Fields Auto Group, Jacksonville's luxury auto group. Lexus of Jacksonville and Orange Park, Mercedes-Benz of Jacksonville, Orange Park, Jaguar Land Rover Jacksonville, Porsche Jacksonville, and where my wife leases her car from Fields Cadillac Jacksonville and St. Augustine. If the luxury car you want isn't in stock, no problem. Fields Auto Group will order it and at a fair price. So stop by a Fields store today and see what world-class service really means. FieldsAuto.com.
The experts at Wake Off's Cooling and Heating can help you save big, replacing your aging heating and cooling system with a new one backed by an incredible up to 10-year worry-free warranty, and have it installed as soon as the next day. Put zero down and have zero payments until 2024. Don't wait. Get a new heating and cooling system from Wake Offs and save. Book fast at wakeoffeasybook.com or call 904-204-3214.
Jacksonville is a great place to live. And if you love where you live, you should invest in it. That's why more and more people bank with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. We invest every penny back into North Florida, backing the very best small businesses, nonprofits, and of course the family home. Why put your money with some big out-of-state bank when you can invest in where you love to live? One-to-One Financial, we're your hometown credit union. Sign up today at one-to-onefcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
Hi, I'm I'm Sophia Monahan. For 46 years, Monahan Jewelers has been Jacksonville's family jeweler, and my sister and I plan to carry on the family tradition with our love for jewelry and design.
That's right, Sophia. And right now, Monahan Jewelers is having our Valentine's sale with up to 30% off GIA certified diamonds and up to 40% off our entire inventory of fine jewelry. We're not a chain store, we're your local family jeweler with an amazing inventory of certified diamonds, engagement rings, diamond studs, designer brands. Monahan Jewelers has it all, and we personally pick out each and every piece. Monahan Jewelers has jewelry for every budget, and with interest-free financing for any purchase, you can have the beautiful piece you've always wanted with a low monthly payment you can afford. Support your local family jeweler this Valentine's, where you'll get friendly service and big savings on GIA certified diamonds and great discounts store-wide with interest-free financing available on any purchase. Finish it up, Sophia.
This is the time to shop at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Attention Dish customers. Dish Network dropped WFOX Fox 30, depriving you of your favorite programs, local news, and the biggest game in football coming up in February. Call Dish now at 1-800-333-3474 and tell them to put WFOX Fox 30 back on the air. Don't let Dish keep you from the important news, sports, and entertainment programming you love. Call Dish now at 1-800-333-3474 and then switch to another TV provider.
Guys, fellas, men, are you Roman ready for Valentine's Day? Right now, generic Viagra, aka Sildenafil, is just $4 per dose at Roman. Just complete a free online visit with a U.S. licensed healthcare professional. If medication is appropriate, Roman sends everything right to your door with free shipping and in discreet packaging. Go to ro.co/Viagra to get generic Viagra for just $4 per dose. Do it by February 8th for 20% off and guaranteed shipping by Valentine's Day. That's ro.co/Viagra.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing in me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is everyday.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet, now open in St. Augustine.
Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. There's a good chance you have a smart speaker, so use it with ESPN 690. Stay up to date on the Jags and all things sports by telling Alexa or Google to play ESPN 690. It's as easy as that. Make sure you listen weekdays 3 until 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Hey, welcome back to Radio Row here in Phoenix, Arizona. Brent Martineau, Kasey Kurtz, Aaron Schachter, football at 5 around the corner. Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton. After that, we'll hear from several people in the 5 o'clock hour. We'll continue to talk a little bit more about Trevor Lawrence and the Players Tribune as well. Earlier on the show, we had Cam Smith on the show, cornerback from South Carolina. Could he be in the Jaguars' plans in this upcoming draft? Which would be interesting. You had to put money on it right now. What position are the Jags taking with the 24th overall pick? You can't trade it out.
Corner.
Feels
Aaron
like corner.
Schachter?
Yeah, it feels like corner. If there's no corner they like at that time, I think maybe they go offensive line, but it feels like corner.
It's funny. I see a lot of people say this, and I don't believe it. Like, I think they're going to go, I would say, defensive tackle.
That's another good
before
one.
I would say
I guess
corner.
it really depends who they end up bringing back, because you got a lot of guys whose contracts are up in the air right now.
Well, and that's fair. There's a lot to be said still what they do in the free agency. That March time will set up April, which it always does. But I think as it sits right now, I think I'd put more of my money on a bigger guy, and I don't think it will be an offensive lineman. I mean, even if Jawan Taylor's not part of the plans, I can't imagine them going offensive line at 24. There'll be other spots to do that. But I think defensive tackle or an edge guy, depending on how they feel about things, could be the case. I mean, did they have to replace Trayvon Walker on the edge if they put his hand in the dirt?
I mean, Yeah, kind of. I mean, you do need another outside linebacker who's going to rush the passer. So, yes, I mean, that does come into play. But I think an ideal world is just a good football player falls to you.
Yeah, that's
like it seems like it happens to everybody else. And, you know, we'll be critical, but, like, if a guy that we believe is a top 15 player and is somehow there at 24 and they play anything other than quarterback, I'm cool.
It's not just
Whatever
quarterback.
it
I mean,
takes.
you know they're not going to take a wide receiver in the first round.
I do, but, like, here's where I'm talking myself back into it, right? And we still have to go through the combine and stuff, and it depends on how you feel about certain players. But, like, insert your guy that you love. Like, if he's at 24 and he was supposed to be gone at 7.
Okay,
well,
fine.
yeah, now you get great value.
You're trying to draft a starter.
I'm with you.
And I'm not. Okay.
I'm with you.
Okay.
I would be the person that's probably critical, but, like, if something crazy were to happen like that and there's not outstanding circumstances where it's like, yeah, he's a bad guy and something happened, right? That's different. But, like, it just happens that way. Like, you can be critical, and I probably would be, but at the end of the day, if they get a good football player, they get a good football player.
So walk with me then, because on offense, barring having a top 10 guy drop to 24, chances are you're not drafting a wide receiver in the first round. You're not drafting a running back in the first round. And you're not drafting a quarterback in the first round. So if it's on the offense, it's either offensive line or it's tight end maybe, which they may have a need for regardless of what they do with Evan Ingram. And then on defense, you think you need corner help. You think you might need linebacker help, especially if you bust Trayvon inside for the season. And you need defensive interior help. But, like, where else are you going?
You could convince me at safety.
Safety, yeah.
But, like,
you're upgrading.
These are good problems to have,
and
by
Andre
the way.
Sisco. Like, these are good players.
Yes, but again, it would have to be a good football player that falls to you. But, like, you could convince me. Like, I'm not saying that that's the ideal, but, like, I could look up and be like, you know what? Okay.
I also think
I get what they're doing.
Rayshawn Jenkins, Andre Sisco, Tyson Campbell, and Darius Williams have earned the right to defend those roles going into next season.
They have, but the part that we haven't talked about is, like, do we know Rayshawn's going to be good again? Because the first year it wasn't good. Did he just play the best year of his career? Is he still ascending? Is that the guy like, you know what I mean? We don't know.
These are fair
Well,
questions.
here's the thing, guys. I think we're thinking about this year too much when it comes to the 24th overall pick in the draft. Tyler Smith was taken by the Cowboys this year. Tyler Linderbaum obviously played this year. Jermaine Johnson, impactful. Devin Lloyd wasn't impactful to the point they still got where they got without Devin Lloyd being a major factor.
But
next year, the years beyond, you hope he definitely was a player. Again, difference between being a big-time player and a role player that's going to ascend. I'll give you a great example of this. The Chiefs, right? They picked Karlaftis from Purdue, and he kept coming on. And now will probably be a big part of this thing going forward, right? I mean, you lose Frank Clark or somebody like that, now he takes over. So that's the point of it. You can get a lot of these different positions that might add depth this year, make up for some injured guys this year, start to build toward the following years, because you lose a lot after next year potentially that you have to replace from a dollar figure standpoint. So you could be drafting for a role this year and starter the next year and beyond with this 24th overall pick. And I think you have the luxury to do that a little bit when you're picking in the 24s through 32. One, because you have the equity of coming off the playoffs. But two, you probably have a pretty decent roster if you're picking number 24 overall.
Yeah.
So you almost have to go there. Building depth is a big part of this thing for me. Are the Jags as deep as some of these teams that were in the postseason? I would say absolutely not.
No.
Haven't had a chance to build it. This is a great starting point in this draft to build depth and future stars ahead with a lot less eyeballs on it and pressure. Let's take a break. Football at 5 coming up. We'll hear from a bunch of different people here in Phoenix, Arizona, like Jimmy Johnson, like Howie Long, like Michael Vick, and what we're talking around the NFL, plus Chad Henne talking today about what happened in that divisional game against the Jags and his time in Jacksonville and now KC. That is coming up with more Trevor Lawrence talk from Phoenix, Arizona, here on ESPN 690.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjax.com.
Fields Auto Group is a proud sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and buying or leasing a luxury car on the First Coast is easy with Fields Auto Group, Jacksonville's luxury auto group. Lexus of Jacksonville and Orange Park, Mercedes-Benz of Jacksonville, Orange Park, Jaguar Land Rover Jacksonville, Porsche Jacksonville, and where my wife leases her car from Fields Cadillac Jacksonville and St. Augustine. If the luxury car you want isn't in stock, no problem. Fields Auto Group will order it and at a fair price. So stop by a Fields store today and see what world-class service really means. FieldsAuto.com.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. A couple of days after his trade from Brooklyn, guard Kyrie Irving will make his Dallas debut against the Clippers tonight, 10 Eastern, ESPN TV. We'll have to wait a bit, though, to see Irving play alongside fellow star Dallas point guard Luka Doncic. He'll miss a third straight game with a right heel contusion. When Doncic and Irving do get on the court together, they will put on quite a show, believes former Duke coach Mike Krzyzewski.
I'm excited to see how talent makes talent better. You know, you have two amazing guys who can pass that ball. Doncic is a great passer in addition to being a scorer. He's just had to play that way with the Mavericks. Kyrie can play off the ball, too. He's one of the best shooters in the NBA. It'll be really exciting basketball.
Mike Krzyzewski on Keyshawn, J-Will, and Max. Officiating among the topics discussed by NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell at his annual Wednesday news conference before the Super Bowl. He said he thinks officiating has never been better in the NFL, adding that officials do an extraordinary job. He also said the league, though, will always look into how it can improve the officiating.
We all know the game isn't over till it's over. So next time your car breaks down, don't call it quits. Head to eBay Motors. They have 122 million parts to take your car into overtime. Get the right parts at the right prices. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Start the new year off with worry-free water. Discover how good your water can be with a new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank, non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family, like they've done for my family for over 5 years. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment. Your authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1428211.
When you enter a place of business, you're owed a legal duty that the place of business is safe for you to shop in. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you suffered an injury at a place of business, our duty is to protect you after that harm. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
I'm Clayton Bromberg, the president of Underwoods. If you've ever wondered if there's a diamond cutter known as the best in the world, the answer is yes, there is. And it's Hearts on Fire, who have the world's most perfectly cut diamond, and we have them at Underwoods. When anybody comes in and looks at one of these diamonds, the first thing they say is, wow! That's because these diamonds are cut for absolute maximum beauty and are really worth seeing, so you have an idea of how good a diamond can really look. They have perfect polish, perfect symmetry, perfect proportions, and perfect light performance, and are backed with an American Gem Society diamond quality document. Now, not every diamond could be a Hearts on Fire diamond because only certain rough diamonds in the hands of the most skilled cutters working in state-of-the-art cutting facilities can cut these. In fact, only 200 diamond cutters out of the 1 million people employed in the diamond cutting trade are skilled enough to cut a Hearts on Fire diamond. And they're available at Underwoods in San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra.
The Gun Show is back at the Maxwell Snyder Armory on Normandy Boulevard this Saturday and Sunday. Buy, sell, trade, and browse a huge selection of guns, knives, ammo, and more. Doors open at 9 a.m. See you at the Gun Show.
Guys, are you getting up multiple times a night to use the bathroom? As we get older, so do our prostates, and that can mean urinary problems that affect our sleep and quality of life. Life is better outside the bathroom. Real Health's Prostate Complete can help you relieve those annoying and painful prostate symptoms. Available at Walmart or visit realhealth.com for more information and to order yours today. Try it risk-free with our 120-day money-back guarantee. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any disease.
Guys, this Valentine's Day, give her the next best thing to wearing nothing at all. Available exclusively at Pajamagram. Sexy, sultry, naturally nude pajamas feel just like her soft skin. Even more alluring than lingerie, the texture and touch of these pajamas is so seductive. Go to pajamagram.com right now. That's pajamagram.com. Use code NUDE, N-U-D-E, and save 25% off your order of naturally nude pajamas. Order now.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Shacks presents Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau.
We're going to have to show a little more patience than the year 2 pom-pom people.
Casey Kurtz.
Yo! But what are we doing, bro? Come on!
And Aaron Schachter.
I'm all in favor of these two showing their love, really celebrating their relationship.
Get him! Get him! Get him! Hit him! Hit him! Hit him! Yeah! Boom! Jack! Boom! Yeah! Boom! Jack! Boom! This is Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Casey Kurtz, and Aaron Schachter on Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. ESPN 690.
Hey, we call it Football at 5. It's Brent and Friends on ESPN 690. We are live from Radio Row here on a Wednesday, midweek. Super Bowl 57 around the corner. Our coverage all week long presented by Fields Auto Group, Old City Heating and Air, and Davoli's House of Cards. Don't forget, with Valentine's Day right around the corner, Peterbrook Chocolatier will be giving away a $75 gift basket on Monday during Brent and Friends that you can win. But you might not want to wait and push your luck. Peterbrook Chocolatier, around for 40 years, 25 different locations in Northeast Florida. And hopefully you'll listen on Monday for a chance to win and maybe a bonus gift for your significant other coming up on this Valentine's Day. Brent Martineau, Casey Kurtz, Aaron Schachter back in the Action Sports Shack studios, pushing all the buttons. Good to have Clay Harbor on the show. Cam Smith, South Carolina cornerback as well. We'll catch up with Kyle Larson, NASCAR driver. We'll save in that one. We already did catch up with him, so we'll have that for you later in the week. And we hope to catch up with some of the Jags players as well coming up in the next couple of days. Super Bowl 57 on the horizon on Sunday. Casey Kurtz will be at the game. I'll be headed back in probably in the Action Sports Shack's primetime studios on the TV side, as you can watch the game on Fox 30. You can also watch our special coverage starting tonight. I'll be live at 6:50 on Fox 30 and have a report each and every night on CBS 47, Fox 30. And then 7 o'clock, a 1-hour show, Tom Coughlin conversation will be on that show, along with a cool story on one of the most important people you don't know in the Jaguars organization. Coming up Friday on CBS 47, and Fox 30 will play it on Saturday as well at 7 o'clock, our 1-hour Making of a Champion special on the TV side of things. All right, Casey Kurtz, you caught up with some folks yesterday from the Fox group. Michael Vick, Jimmy Johnson, Howie Long, Gronk.
Yeah. Interesting perspective on a whole bunch of things. Like the thing about it is, like, you know, you got questions on the game. Like, I don't know how they do it, right? So you're sitting there for like a whole hour.
Hold on, you don't know how they do what?
I'm about to explain. So the first person, like, hey, what do you think the game's going to be like? And then like 5 minutes later, another person who wasn't there is like, hey, bro, what do you think the game's going to be like? And then like an hour in, after you've been asked like 46 times how you think the game's going to play out, like, I don't know how you don't just yell at somebody.
Well, because you understand the context of what you're doing. It's no different than like a player. Like a player, if he's at his locker post-game, you know you're not going to get everybody there, although some suggest that can you just make sure everybody does it at one time for that purpose?
Sure, but there's only like 18 to 25. There was
like
2,000 people up there, right?
Yeah.
So I can understand why that gets mad. But then also, everybody's got to ask about their teams, and we asked about the Jags, which we'll get into tomorrow a little bit. But like some interesting stuff from Howie Long, Jimmy Johnson on the game. Michael Vick talked about the game, but also the evolution of the quarterback and all kinds of little notes about his career. So, yeah, some good stuff coming out of there, Brent.
Yeah, I think those guys are always part of it for me, whether it's NFL Network and all the different players and people that they have with their football history. I think Fox, obviously, or everybody does it, whether the game's on NBC, CBS, you eventually will get them. And they all have these big-time lineups now, Hall of Famers galore and people that follow the NFL. There's a lot of times when you cover Jacksonville that they don't really know what the hell they're talking about when it comes to it, quite frankly. They just don't. This year I feel different. It's Doug Peterson, it's Trevor Lawrence. It's everybody got to see what the Jaguars were all about. And so I think it took on a little bit different meaning this time around to get people's thoughts on the Jacksonville Jaguars and where they're going. They know what the Jags have right now, and I think people around the National Football League know. I think this isn't just a, hey, let's guess and talk about the one player we know. That does happen sometimes, but not in this instance. I think the Jags are here, and whether you believe they're here for a long time or not a long time, that's a different part of the story, but it's a story that will be written out in 2023 and probably even longer to go. I think one of the interesting parts of this Super Bowl is Jalen Hurts. And Hurts is a guy that, they gave up on him at Alabama basically, and Tua replaced him in that second half and then replaced him going forward. Just circumstances. He goes to Oklahoma. He's fine at Oklahoma. He gets drafted by the Eagles. And listen, year one, even part of year two, you kind of wondered about him. Minshew goes there and gets traded to there, and you're like, hey, you know what? He might have an opportunity. Is Hurts going to be the guy? And who knows? Well, now we know. He is the guy. Everybody in Philadelphia is saying this is exactly what we want. His job's not on the line at all. Like, he's here. Like, he's our guy going forward. Like, we have no questions. Now the only question is, can he win big? I have some questions about whether he can win from behind. They have played so far ahead most of the season that I wonder if Hurts can deliver in that moment. But what you can't deny is his leadership ability, the toughness of him, and also his ability to run what they want to do. He's terrific at that. And Jimmy Johnson wasn't a huge believer in Jalen Hurts as he got drafted into the NFL. He certainly is now. Aaron, here's cut number 4 from Jimmy Johnson.
Unfortunately, I was one of the doubters on Jalen Hurts. I didn't know him personally. I didn't realize how hard he worked. I didn't realize how much he was going to improve, and he has come a million miles from day one. He is an outstanding franchise quarterback. Now, part of it is the coaching staff. They've adjusted their style of play offensively to Jalen Hurts' talents. So I think it's a combination of the coaching staff and his talent.
Well, Jalen Hurts, is he the real deal, and is he an elite quarterback or on his way to being an elite quarterback? Because there's different thing about, okay, this guy can really run our system, this guy can win with him, and then there's this guy can elevate us to win big time, even if we don't have a stacked offensive line, stacked defense with 70 sacks on it, 2 big-time wide receivers if somebody gets hurt. Is he in that echelon or headed there?
All right. This one should be easy. How many games did they lose when Jalen Hurts played?
1.
Is Gardner Minshew one of the best backups in the league?
I think he is.
And their record with Gardner Minshew was?
0-2, I believe it was.
There's your answer.
So you're comparing Jalen Hurts. I'm trying to compare Jalen Hurts to Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, guys of that ilk.
No. You're trying to say, does Jalen Hurts elevate you to be an elite quarterback? He elevated them to losing 1 football game this whole season when he was in there, and you put this team that we say the team has a great roster with maybe the best backup quarterback in the league, and they couldn't win.
Yeah. I think
so,
it's
yes,
a little unfair.
I think he is elite.
I think that's a little unfair, just specifically because we don't just say it's one of the great rosters in the league. I mean, it is. It is just laden with Pro Bowlers, number 1 ranked secondary, one of the best run offenses in the league, top 3 ranked offensive line, the most sacks on a historic level. Like, this is a great roster. So to put that on Gardner's shoulders, or even the opposite, to say Hurts is the only guy who could win with them, I think is a little bit unfair. But I understand the point you're trying to make, and that's the man just won this year constantly.
So, yeah, in one way, shape, or form are we going to talk about, like, he's not an elite quarterback right now, or is he?
Probably.
So he's an elite quarterback.
I would say so.
Really? I would not.
I think he had an elite year. I want to see him do it one more time. To say it.
I mean, listen, Lamar Jackson was elite. He won the MVP. He's unbelievable when he's healthy. Or But, I mean, what's he done since he won the MVP?
Not much.
Not won a playoff game, not stayed healthy, not those things. So, I mean, and honestly, I think, like, Lamar Jackson feels more elite than Jalen Hurts.
I'll say this about Jalen Hurts.
He doesn't?
No.
Really?
No.
You take Jalen Hurts over Lamar Jackson?
Yes.
Wow.
I think that's a mistake, too.
Why is it a mistake?
Because Lamar has proven over multiple seasons that this is who he is.
That he gets hurt at the end of the season?
It just happened once.
It's happened two. No, that's not true. It's happened
First of all,
two
he
straight
sprained
years.
his PCL in the middle of this season, not at the end of the season. So it just happened once.
It didn't come back. So, yeah.
He didn't have a contract.
I think you're crazy.
Look, here's what I'm saying about Jalen Hurts, and here's a tick in the box for voting that maybe this was the year he graduated to elite. There were only a handful of games that the Eagles could not run the ball. There were 5 games where they had under 100 yards rushing, and in only 2 of those games, Jalen Hurts throws for less than 328 yards. But ultimately, he put the team on his shoulders and carried them in those games. In the win against the Commanders, in the win against the Titans. Now, unfortunately, when the Eagles couldn't run the ball, they lost 2 of those games. And one of those games was real ugly against the Commanders. He only threw for 174 yards, 4 turnovers in the game from the team. So until Jalen is able to put the entire team on his back, I don't know that I go and call him elite, but I do think the numbers he put up this year are, like, staggeringly impressive.
Well, I think that's a little bit the sign what people want eventually, right? They want you to be able to carry your team. Patrick Mahomes carries them. Lamar Jackson has carried them. They respond very well, even though they have a good team around them at times over the years. I do wonder about that with Hurts. Like, I just don't think he's had to do it yet because of the way they're built. And it's not a knock on – I mean, heck, it's great that the team's built, but you can't be built all the time. And so is he eventually going to be elite? Here's the other thing I say a lot. Tom Brady wasn't elite early in his career. Neither was Russell Wilson. They had very good teams, very good situations around them, and then they grew into that role of being the guy where I can take over a lot more of the offense. I can do a lot more of this on my own. And maybe he gets there. I don't think he's there right now. I mean, I wouldn't put him on – I mean, name your team. Like are they in the Super Bowl with the Giants team? Because of Hurts.
Is Jalen Hurts in the Super Bowl if he's the quarterback of the Giants? No.
Because of the lack of help.
But I mean, he's way better than Daniel Jones.
What about on the Cowboys?
Right?
Yes.
Cowboys 100%. In the Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts.
Yes. 100%.
Interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. And that's what I mean, maybe he is. Maybe he's on the verge. Maybe he's already there. I don't feel it, but I guess he's got a long way to show us all on Sunday.
In this fictional scenario, you think they'd run the ball more? Like they should have been running the ball the whole time. So if you have a running quarterback, you can do more in that aspect. You might ask him to run the ball more rather than throw it more. So, yes, I think if Dallas was able to run the football more, they would be in a better situation. I think Jalen Hurts gives them that.
I'm just saying the question to me at least is relevant because the knock on Dak this year was, or I should say the knock on the Cowboys, is that they're not surrounding Dak with enough help. You've got CeeDee Lamb, you've got Tony Pollard, Zeke on the decline, Michael Gallup not necessarily who you thought he was, Dalton Schultz not really participating. If you switch out Dak with Jalen Hurts, you're still not giving Jalen the help, but do you think he'd be a little more competent? And I guess your answer obviously is yes.
I don't think he would throw it to the other team as much.
Casey Kurtz caught up with a bunch of different guys. Do you have Howie Long talking about this game?
Yeah. Yes.
And let's hear what Howie, the Hall of Famer, had to say, who'll be part of the broadcast coverage on Fox this coming weekend.
Kansas City runs a dynamic offense. You know, the Cincinnati games have always been kind of, it's 20-17, 17-17, that kind of thing. I think for Kansas City, the opportunity to potentially, can they jump out and score some points? Maybe take Philadelphia out of running the ball 40 times at 3.7 yards a clip and taking their pass shots at their convenience off of play-action pass. I think that's the big key. Can Kansas City stop the run? That offensive line literally moves. I'm telling you, I watched San Francisco on film yesterday. They're taking people and moving them. It's like a high school team who's really good, taking an inferior opponent, moving them 4 yards off the line of scrimmage.
See, that's Howie Long, and that's how I believe about the Eagles. I think what he's basically saying, this guy knows what grown man football looks like. They are a grown man team. I mean, he's basically saying that they're taking one of the best defenses, and they're moving guys to the point where you're looking at like it's a high school matchup. I mean, that's crazy. To think about how good that San Francisco defense is, how good that front is, and that's how strong and good they are. And Lane Johnson's playing with like half a groin or whatever. I mean, I don't know if you can beat that. I mean, football, this is where the Eagles, and again, this goes back to a little bit of the Hurts stuff. I mean, they're running the ball at a crazy rate. We don't do that anymore in the NFL. Like, that doesn't happen. And they're historically running the football at a crazy rate. And on top of that, they're historically sacking the quarterback on the other side of the ball. So you talk about the trenches, and this is a trench game. I mean, we've gone to 7-on-7 football. When we talk about the NFL or college, and that's what catches our attention. This is just a trench game. And if it comes out of the trenches, which I got to believe it will, I mean, the Eagles dominate.
They dominate. And I don't trust Kansas City in that aspect. I think they have good players on their defensive line. They will be tested, but I think when you go to the other side and you look at what Philadelphia has in their front against the Chiefs' offensive line, which is definitely better than it has been the last time they went to the Super Bowl, I don't trust them, because for what they did against that second half against Cincinnati, where it felt like they never really even were out there, and Patrick Mahomes just had 1 second to get rid of the football, I think the Eagles will be like that from the get, and then it'll be up to Mahomes to somehow try to create with barely any time on the clock, and barely any time with the play, and that's the thing that Clay said earlier. It's true. Like, they don't have to blitz him. Like, the thing about Patrick Mahomes is you can't blitz him. The Eagles won't, because they'll get home either way.
Hey, let's hit a couple of other guys real quick here on Brent and Friends on ESPN 690. Kasey Kurtz also caught up with Gronk, of course, who is retired from football and doesn't look like he's going back this time around. Do we have recency bias when it comes to Travis Kelce, how good he is? Now, the numbers stack up to say, listen, he's really one of the greats. You can't deny it. But is he the best of all time? I think that's what a lot of people are saying right now, and especially year in, year out, week in, week out, postseason numbers, what he's been doing. He delivers in big-time moments, and he seems unstoppable. I call him the most dangerous guy in the game right now. I'm not sure I called Gronk that, but he was asked, is Kelce the best of all time, or does Gronk have a say in that?
You know, that's a tough question for sure. There's no doubt about that. I mean, we have different styles of play. I respect the heck out of Travis, but I would say that's a question for you guys to debate.
Okay, so we debated.
He wanted to answer so bad, though.
I know, that's what your takeaway was.
What do you think? He was going to say himself or no?
Yeah, I do. Like, I just think, like, just the way that the whole thing progressed, and he's, like, saying nothing. He's like, well, you know. And, like, just in the moment, you could see it's like, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. And he didn't do it.
Here's the thing about Kelce this season. You asked about recency bias. The tough part about shedding the recency bias is not only did he have a great season this year, but the distance between him and second place in every one of those major statistical categories is a really wide gap this year. More so than any other year. You had big offensive tight ends this year really not put up numbers like a young Darren Waller. Even Kyle Pitts in his second year was a disappointment. But Mark Andrews without a starting quarterback like Lamar Jackson put up less numbers than maybe you expected to see. Dalton Schultz was a no-show for most of the season. Even Dawson Knox over in Buffalo was kind of a no-show this season. So to have Kelce have such a wide margin between the numbers he was putting up and the numbers the rest of the league was putting up, it kind of makes it hard to think that anybody else ever played the position, much less was great at it.
Yeah, I think you bring up a great point. When you are that much better than the next guy at your position, you get to a different kind of category. Like, Gronk wasn't so prolific all the time and didn't look like Kelce does or look like Kittle, right, or look like some of the way these guys are running with the football, because he was big Gronk and he was also could blow you up and he was a physical mismatch and you couldn't defend him. So he's very like, I don't know how you defend him. That was the conversation back in 2017 AFC Championship game is who are you going to put on him? And Jalen Ramsey came up, and obviously he was part of it, but they put multiple guys on him. When you need to be defended with multiple players from multiple positions, you are what everybody would call a mismatch. Kelce, to me, they try to game plan for this guy week in, week out in the NFL, all 31 other teams, different defensive coordinators for years and years, and they can't figure it out. And I love his playoff stats because it shows you that you are heightened awareness with good teams, good coaches, good game planning, and they still can't figure it out. He still goes for 8 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown like every time he touches it in the playoffs.
So the interesting thing about comparing these two guys is that right now, at this very moment, you've got Kelce with 144 games and Gronkowski with 143.
Wow, how about that?
So, I do have the
Now,
comparison.
Kelsey's numbers must blow him away, right?
Yeah, like for the career, if that's what you're talking about. Although
Yeah.
I was just looking at playoff totals. But totals in their career, if we're looking at yards, Kelsey has him by a clean 1,000. If we're looking at touchdowns, Gronk's got him by almost 30.
Really?
Yeah.
30?
Gronk 92 to 20. Gronk's 92 to Kelsey's 69.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, so that's
Dang.
why I asked the question, right?
And
We're
receptions,
sitting here
Kelsey's got him by a mile in receptions.
in this recency bias world. We're sitting here and we're watching this, and like, I wouldn't have guessed that. I didn't know he had that many touchdowns receiving.
is a lot of
I mean, that puts you in a different stratosphere. Of course, Brady's playing with prolific offenses with Gronk, but so is Mahomes and
Right.
Kelsey. So they're very alike in that situation. And my guess is Gronk could do a whole lot more in the tight end game in terms of blocking and everything else.
Yeah, he's so
than
much
Kelsey
of a bigger
is.
dude, yeah.
So, who's harder to defend?
Gronk.
Think so?
Yeah.
Certainly in
Gosh,
the
that's
end
a hard
zone.
thing when I think nobody can defend Kelsey.
I know, but like
6'6".
nobody could. You just said it though. Like 5 years. That's the recency bias. Because 5 years ago, you couldn't defend Gronk.
I mean,
Yeah.
Gronk is 6'6", 265, 270 playing weight. How do you defend against him in the red zone or in the end zone? 17 touchdowns, 10 touchdowns, 11 touchdowns, 12 and 11 in a 6-year span.
That is nuts.
the
I mean, that's
dude
nuts
is
to
just
think
a
about that.
magnet.
That is really crazy. And by the way, 100 receiving touchdowns from the tight end position, easy if he stays healthy just half the time.
yeah.
You know? All
Or
right,
if just like played the whole time.
or played the whole time, yeah. One more thing. The Michael Vick you caught up with. I thought this was interesting. I don't know who asked the question, but it came out about who's he rooting for in this game. And he's got ties to both. But it might be, does he disrespect somebody else in his answer? Listen to Michael Vick.
Well, I got two of my favorite coach and favorite team in the Super Bowl team that I played for. So it's a win-win for me. I can't lose. I just feel bad, and it's unfortunate it has to be a loser and only one winner. But if it's Andy and the Chiefs, and that'd be 2 for Andy and 2 for Patrick. That'd be great if it's Philadelphia. That's 2 in 5 years, I think. So it's 6 years, and Jalen gets his first, and I think that's special.
Do you think of Michael Vick as an Eagle or a Falcon?
Eagle.
Really?
I do.
Like I kind of do too, but that's more so. Well, like mine is like the age thing.
Yeah. You saw him on the back end more,
Yeah.
right?
Like he was on the cover of Madden as a Falcon, and like I played Madden, but like it didn't really register. So like Eagle.
Yeah,
I'm surprised you said it.
I'll tell you why I remember him as an Eagle. It has nothing to do with Michael Vick. It's got to do with Randall Cunningham. When I think running quarterback who can throw the ball a mile, the first guy that pops in my head is Randall Cunningham. And when I see Randall Cunningham, the next step in my head is Michael Vick in an Eagles jersey.
It's wild to me is that's what caught our attention, Casey and I, that he didn't mention Atlanta like in that, and I don't understand where people are asking him about this situation. And so he said one of my favorite, kind of caught himself. And Reed connection certainly makes sense.
6
And then
years
the
in
Eagles
Atlanta,
makes
5
sense.
years in Philly, by the way.
But here's the thing, and this is why I believe most people might see him as an Eagle, because it came next. If you see him as a Falcon, then you take in the dog stuff and everything else that came along with it. It was after all that, right, on the Eagle front. And
the redemption.
I wonder if it feels cleaner to consider him an Eagle. Because, listen, this guy was iconic, like pop culture kind of iconic. Like he was the guy. He was very Allen Iverson to me. Where people in sports, when you were ranking players in the NBA, they didn't really rank. They never gave Iverson his due. They didn't give Iverson. They didn't want to balloon him up to like the best player. Of course, the Sixers at the time, I don't think were very good during his time, or at least not as good as everybody else.
They made the playoffs with Keith Van Horn for a little bit.
But in hindsight, or in like our pop culture world, it was like Iverson this, Iverson that. Iverson in songs, Iverson whatever.
He was the N1 mixtape culture too. He was like the face of street ball for a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good call. And I think Vic was very much like that. And but would probably still, and everybody raved about the talent. Same with Iverson, right? You raved about the talent. But it is interesting to think about, okay, do you remember him as a Falcon, or do you just not want to remember him as a Falcon?
I just don't.
Yeah, well, you're different because of your age, but I think there are some that just don't want to.
Yeah.
You know? He was terrific now.
His numbers were pacing better with the Eagles than they were with the Falcons, despite him winning the awards with the Falcons.
Yeah.
He
and
played one less season, so he didn't have as many numbers, but only 20 less touchdowns and 2,000 less yards. Had he played a sixth season with Philadelphia, he would have hit those numbers.
See, the other thing about the Atlanta thing is when he came onto the scene, he was like, what is this? You know? And then the Eagles one was like, can he do this again?
It was very much
right?
like Deion Sanders level. This is new modern football player.
Exactly. That's a good way to call it. All right, we'll be back. When we come back, Trevor Lawrence in the Players Tribune. If you missed any of it, well, Aaron would like to read you a story, I think.
Yes, sir.
Friends on Radio Row from Phoenix, Arizona on ESPN 690. When we come back, Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton on deck, 6 p.m. until 7 p.m.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Mostly clear and nice tonight with temperatures dropping into the 50s. It'll be a partly sunny and warm Thursday. Afternoon highs tomorrow topping out between 80 and 85. From the CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jack's First Alert Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds. Proud to offer a huge selection of both lab-grown and natural diamonds at the lowest prices guaranteed.
A tune-up by Wake-Off's Cooling and Heating will extend the life of your air conditioning system, avoid costly repairs, and lower costs to keep your home comfortable. Wake-Offs will perform a multi-point seasonal system tune-up and inspection for just $59 as soon as today. Plus, every Wake-Offs tune-up is backed by their industry-leading no-breakdown guarantee. Call 904-204-3214 or book at wakeoffeasybook.com.
Start the new year off with worry-free water. Discover how good your water can be with a new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family, like they've done for my family for over 5 years. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment. Your authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1428211.
Are you a real estate investor or have considered investing and want to know where you can put your money that offers solid returns and protects against market volatility? It's Rich Jones. I want to introduce you to DLP Capital. CEO and founder Don Wenner.
For more than a decade, DLP Capital has delighted our investors with consistent double-digit returns. Through the smart, conservative real estate investment strategy our company is built on, we have been able to achieve this with monthly distributions and tax shelters so our investors can keep more of their returns.
Dial ** invest on your cell phone or visit highyieldreturns.net.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
I'll second guest dinners with friends because they can be interrupted by diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or oily stools. It turns out I have EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, which means I'm missing the enzymes needed to digest food. My doctor prescribed Creon, pancrelipase, an oral prescription medication that replaces pancreatic digestive enzymes. Creon treats EPI due to cystic fibrosis, chronic pancreatitis, pancreatectomy, or other conditions.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you're allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Creon is the #1 prescribed EPI treatment. Ask your doctor about Creon for EPI and visit creoninfo.com or call 800-633-9110 to learn more. That's CREON info.com.
Still overpaying for a razor? In this economy? Gross. At Dollar Shave Club, you can get a top shelf shave at a regular shelf price. We've been hawking shaving products for years online, and we're excited to bring you the same great quality and low prices at a store near you. From high-quality stainless steel blades to super smooth shave creams, Dollar Shave Club's in the business of making your shave easier. Find Dollar Shave Club in the men's razor aisle. Getting your Dollar Shave Club razor wherever you want. Isn't that great?
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Thinking about gas mileage? If your check engine light is on, it may be affecting your MPGs, but the free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help. With the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes, you'll know what's affecting your gas mileage and more, and you don't have to drive too far to find the fix. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service is available at all 6,200 stores.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
See details at AutoZone.com.
Listen to ESPN 690 anytime, anywhere, on any device. Whether you're at home or on the go, get the latest on the Jags, FSU, the Jumbo Shrimp, and Action Sports Jacks on Odyssey.com. That's AUDACY.com or on ESPN690.com.
All right, the question is, does Aaron have music picked out for his storytelling? That's about the Bubba. Well, that's good. Sound like yes, that was.
Come on.
Okay. You think you just turned away from the mic when you did that?
Well, I was grabbing my headphones.
Oh. I like when you turn away from the mic and yell into it.
Come on. There it is.
I like that's a good veteran radio guy tip. And you couldn't do that here.
No, just run to somebody else's table, screaming at their mic.
That's right. There are a lot of tables around here. Here on Radio Row, Phoenix, Arizona, Super Bowl 57. Brent Martineau, Kasey Kurtz. And I keep reminding you about Valentine's Day. Don't forget the Action Sports Shacks Dream 18 card. ActionSportsShacksDream18.com. We've sold, quite a few of them already. Been mailing a bunch out. Actually, Steph has. We appreciate her doing that. But get on board. Save a lot of money in golf. And greens fees are expensive. Golf is booming still. A lot of different golf courses to get to, and a great gift idea for you or someone else. The Action Sports Shacks Dream 18 card, ActionSportsShacksDream18.com. Just $69, and you'll save hundreds of dollars at various courses throughout the area. All right, Trevor Lawrence continues to be the big story. He wrote a Player Tribune article today, he wrote it, and they published it today. And it was a big thank you to Jacksonville, in essence. It was
totally
a thank you.
unexpected, too, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know, what you see the Players Tribune, and these guys write articles about different things. Usually it's something very poignant in terms of, I don't know about controversial, but maybe something that featured some adversity in their life.
Yeah.
I don't really feel like the Jags, of course, the Jags featured adversity in their season. I mean, it's a football game each and every Sunday. But not to the degree like, okay, I'm going to put pen to paper on it. So I was a little surprised to see the article, but I kind of loved it at the same time because as I joked and not really joked on Twitter after I saw the article, the Jags would be smart in the next day or so to put out information about the new stadium. Like, people want to buy season tickets like right now after reading that article.
Right now.
And they'll buy into anything right now. We'll make it work. It's Trevor's town. Like, that's the feeling of it, and he's the spokesperson for the football team and for the franchise and for the city right now, and that ain't a bad thing, Aaron Schachter.
No, not at all. Though, when you first texted this morning, you're like the Trevor article in the Players Tribune, and I'm sitting there going, what is he writing about?
Same thing. Yeah, same thing. I got a heads up on it. I was like, well, what's he going to write about?
Yeah. Like Kyrie Irving wrote a letter to Nets fans, and you're like, oh, because he left, even though he didn't care about him for 3 years. Fine, write your letter.
He
goodbye.
wrote a letter to the Nets fans?
Yeah, he thanked them
Why?
for their support. And I'm like, really?
What support?
All three
they booed
people?
him.
Yeah, exactly.
That's tough.
It's so
Kyrie,
dumb.
though.
But, this is what all athletes do this now, where they want to get their specific message to the fans through their own channels, and that's fine. So when Trevor wrote this morning, I was very confused about it. But you read this letter and you get all pumped up, Brent, like you're saying. He gets all blustery in there, and you're like, this is the guy I want running the team. This is the guy I want recruiting other players here to Jacksonville to play for this team, writing things like this. One of the things I remember from last season is thinking, how will we ever get guys to want to stay here or even come here? It's only a year ago that I was worried about that. Now what I hear is guys talking about how this is a family. I hear guys talking about how this is one of the best organizations in football, and they wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Like we're building something here for the long haul, and stuff like that, man, it feels good. It makes me really proud to be a Jaguar. So Duval, thank you from the bottom of my heart for sticking with us, for believing in us. We couldn't have done it without you. That playoff win, that feeling, I want that forever. I promise it was just the beginning. And I promise that where these last two teams are going, that's where we're planning on being. Guys, Brent, Kasey, Duval, Northeast Florida, the United States of America, it was always the Jaguars. Love, Trevor Lawrence.
You know what? You just made Trevor Lawrence's article in the Players Tribune into a Disney ride, and I kind of like it.
There we go. Strap in, kids.
That was it, man. Good tunes. Good reading.
Yeah.
Good writing, Trevor.
Thanks, YouTube.
And Josh Allen said this, Trev is really speaking for every one of us, and I promise you next up, bro, Trevor Lawrence gives me goosebumps just thinking about what we're going to do this year. Meanwhile, I don't know if he repinned this tweet or just pinned this tweet, or maybe it was already pinned, but Allen has at the top of his Twitter, that's what pinned tweets do, September 6, 2020, glad to be a Jacksonville Jaguar, hashtag Duval.
Oh,
and he did.
boy.
I remember him saying that back in 2020.
Are you reading into this? Do you think they've come to terms that they're not announcing, maybe?
No, first of all, I haven't checked his Twitter in a while, so I don't know if that's an always pinned tweet.
Okay.
Or if it just kind of came out because of this. Are you all right?
Yep.
And
I got some stuff to tell you in the break, Aaron. Make sure nobody's in there.
Oh, boy.
So
that's the stuff you want to put on the radio. But
yeah,
Brett,
that's the stuff you want out there.
But what if the Trevor article is now working in the hometown discount for everybody?
Yeah, I don't know about that. It's still a business, like I say.
All right.
But that does actually get us to a different part of the conversation. You brought this up with Clay Harbor early, and that we saw this morning, Evan Ingram.
Oh, yeah, what was that?
And did you see this, Aaron?
Yeah, I love I love New York, or the people in New York, or something like that.
Yeah.
Man, I love New York. Well, you play for the Jags.
Well, it's funny how you interpret that.
Okay.
He said, damn, I love New York, which is way better than, man, I love New York.
Listen, okay, we can pretend all we want, it's nothing. But why tweet it? Like, you got a whole life. Like, just say it out loud. Like, you know what I mean? You only tweet stuff for attention if you're a pro athlete.
Here's my
problem,
problem,
that's what that was.
If he's tweeting it because of some conversation, or maybe the thought here, the scary anxiety thought is, oh, he's going to go back to the Giants. If you're Evan Ingram, and I get it's a business and they're going to offer you a ton of money if that's the truth, but they shipped you out. They were like, no thanks, bud. Go find it somewhere else.
Or do we have a conspiracy on our hands?
Do you think it's a fake? A fraud? What do
no,
you
I
say
think if he
here?
goes, I say, right, there could be a lot of things. I say if he goes back to the Giants, this was a plan by the Giants.
Oh. To do what?
There's like some conspiracy.
So the Giants all met. Hold on. The Giants all met, and they were like, hey, do we want to pay Evan Ingram $12 million a year?
No.
They're like, no. I got the plan. Let's send him to the Jaguars and take him back when he's $15 million a year.
Here's the plan. New coach for the Giants. They literally had no wide receivers.
Right.
They said, what's the best way to lose? Not with Evan Ingram.
Not with Evan Ingram.
So the Giants, hear me out, were planning to lose. But they goofed around and won a bunch.
Yeah, they messed that up.
And
Big time.
they messed it up. So instead of having the draft picks this year, they're like, hey, we got to go all in. Daniel Jones may be the guy. Then they bring Evan Ingram back because they're a winning franchise now.
Well, listen, I think his next tweet's going to be, damn, I love Kasey Kurtz, in the same context as it was, damn, I love New York. Basically what happened here is New York booed him out of New York.
Yeah.
Giants fans booed him out of New York.
Yeah.
And then what happened is they want a free agent tight end back with Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley and everybody else that they made the postseason and said, hey, we love you, Evan Ingram. Come back, please, Evan Ingram. Much, by the way, in the same way some people are saying about Jalen Ramsey.
There's a little bit of
and
a
I
difference,
think that's
though.
why he said, damn, I love New York, because he was hurt by the New York stuff. That's a fact. Like, it meant something for him to go back and play the Jets and do what he did against the Jets on that Thursday night just because it was that stadium. Like, it absolutely meant something for him to do that in that building because it stung him. Like, his motivation in part in betting on himself was because he knew he was better. How many times did he refer to his time in New York that it wasn't always good, like it just wasn't good, like he admitted it. He didn't enjoy it. There were some bad times, not to say everything. I'm not going to put words in his mouth and say he hated every minute of being in New York. But it wasn't like a 5 years that was, wow, that was the best time of my life. I think in 1 year he said, this was like the best time of my life in Jacksonville, basically because of how the first 5 years of his NFL career went in New York. This was not a, hey, can't wait to come back and join you again, New York. He ain't playing in New York ever again. In fact, I think the Jags could offer him $3 million a year for him to play in Jacksonville over New York if it was just those two teams.
That is reckless.
No, it's not. Taxes are expensive in New York, man.
On a 4-year deal, that's like $12 million.
Not
You're out of
just
your
state.
mind.
No. Let's not stop there, Brent. It's not just federal and state. It's city tax as well. You got to pay to live in the city.
I want to be clear. If this man goes back to the Giants, I will delete every pro Evan Ingram thing I have on my Twitter. I will scrub my Twitter. Him!
I promise you he's not going back to the Giants.
You want to bet on it?
Yes.
How much you want to bet?
You name the price. But make sure you can deliver on it.
Oh. Calling
Because
out that
there's a
empty
damn
wallet
good chance
anymore.
I can.
Especially
hey,
if it's
should I
stolen
be
whipped cream.
alarmed? Should I be alarmed?
More bagged cookies from yesterday.
Should I be alarmed that my Twitter says rate limit exceeded?
If that's not a joke,
Refresh it
that's
again.
Awesome.
What the heck does that mean? Rate limit exceeded.
You have finally reached the end of Twitter.
He's done. He's
I
finally
just feel
done.
like I solved Super Mario Brothers or something.
He's finally done.
Elon's like, who is this Brent guy tweeting 74 times an hour?
This is a great moment for us, folks. You guys don't know it that are around us, but this is a great moment for all of us.
There goes one Whipped Cream Wednesday here from Radio Row in Phoenix, Arizona. We'll be back to what did we learn other than my Twitter now is extinct on ESPN 690. That's next. We give away a hat or a program if you call 904-362-9901. What did we learn here on a Wednesday? It's next.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Key, I'm thinking about for Valentine's Day with the wife, thinking like some chocolates, some flowers, maybe do like a nice dinner, something like that. Answer
Max?
your question before.
What's Valentine's Day?
You one of those.
You one of those?
Huh?
We made up holiday.
So you don't do anything. You do nothing for Valentine's Day.
What are they gonna do now? It's Ground Day.
Key, J, and Max. Followed by Greeny. Mornings on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
Start the new year off with worry-free water. Discover how good your water can be with a new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank, non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family, like they've done for my family for over 5 years. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment. Your authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1428211.
Jacksonville is a great place to live. And if you love where you live,
you should invest in it. That's why more and more people bank with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. We invest every penny back into North Florida, backing the very best small businesses, nonprofits, and of course the family home. Why put your money with some big out-of-state bank when you can invest in where you love to live? One-to-One Financial. We're your hometown credit union. Sign up today at one-to-one-fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
This is Sam, and he changed my life. If you're a veteran or know a veteran struggling with post-traumatic stress or traumatic brain injury, please go to AmericanHumane.org to learn about the Pups for Patriots service dog program.
A message from American Humane.
I'm Tracy Phillips, owner of Promotional Presence and Jack's Chamber member, volunteer facilitator, and on the advisory board for the JWBC. I've learned firsthand from the courses and education offered by the JWBC that the connections and resources provide an environment for entrepreneurs to network and prosper alongside each other. Learn how to get involved and support North Florida women's business owners by visiting jackswbc.com.
When I started in '98, it was a different mentality for first responders.
I've seen a lot of people struggle after retirement, still fighting the same demons that they had on the job.
The ability to reach out to a peer support program is huge.
I've done your job. I know the burden you carry. You've saved other people. Let us save you at this time.
It only takes a couple seconds to dial 3 numbers.
First responders, call 211 or visit stayfitforduty.org.
Look around you. There's history being made. Has been, will be. Just something about those blue skies, high banks and high speed, all coming together in one perfect race. And it'll be here sooner than you think. The Daytona 500 at Daytona International Speedway, February 19th, 2023. Get your tickets now at Daytona500.com.
Hi, this is Stan Nagel for Energy Seal Foam Insulation, reminding you that summer's coming. Give us a call. Save 30% off our summer rates. Call EnergySealToday.com. We spray attics, subfloors, metal buildings. EnergySealToday.com, 888-306-3626.
The Jack's International Auto Show is a whole new experience. Electric, hybrid, sports cars, SUVs, and trucks. You've got your own style, so find a car to match it. Test drive vehicles and hot sports cars. Check out exotic supercars and custom classics, live concerts, whiskey, wine, and beer tastings, and a ladies' night with heels and horsepower. All the dealers in the First Coast region are rolling out their best cars and their best deals at the Prime Osborne Convention Center February 16th to 19th. Go to thejacksautoshow.com for a sneak peek.
Giving back to your community is worth celebrating. Come to a party with a purpose. The Black and White Soiree, hosted by Catholic Charities Jacksonville on Saturday, March 11th. Enjoy cocktails, heavy hors d'oeuvres, and live music from the Bay Kings Band in the Lower East Club at TIAA Bankfield. Funds raised help Catholic Charities Jacksonville fight local hunger all year long. Get your tickets today at ccbjacks.org. That's ccbjacks.org. Sponsorships may still be available.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet, now open in St. Augustine.
Hey, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. Did you know you can watch our radio show? Yeah, video of a radio show. Just search ESPN 690 Jacks on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, or follow me on Twitter at Brent A.S. Jacks. Watch the show live weekdays from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. or listen on ESPN 690. Brent Friends on ESPN 690, where we're trying to figure out how to count. Still.
I know how to learn. I know what I learned. Can I go first?
Yeah, let's go.
I learned.
This is you know this is going to be violent too.
Yeah, that's good. I like it.
Right,
I like
violence. Before Kasey, you go. 904-362-9901 if you want to call us with a What Did I Learn? 904-362-9901. What did you learn on Brent and Friends today? Kasey, take it away.
I learned the Robbins guy, but most importantly,
very good.
Tone or Tim, whatever.
Tony.
But most importantly,
So
what I learned
is what you're saying.
I half learned it, Robbins, and he's a person. He's almost a
name's more
billionaire
important.
from giving speeches to make people stop feeling bad. So what I really learned though was after Brent Martineau's been on TV for how long?
20 years plus.
20 years. And we had a conversation in the break when I was trying to count Brent down. I gave him the 1 for a minute. 1.
Got the minute.
I gave him this little half C or like a full C, I guess. That means 30.
Got the 30.
Why does it mean 30? I have no idea,
I don't
and I
either.
don't care. So then I give Brent Martineau the classic fist, right? What does the fist mean? In other circles it means different things, but in our circle, it means 15 seconds left. Brent acknowledges that I gave him the fist. When I was a studio tech, very successfully asked Dave Wax for like a year and a half, this was it. The fist was it. 15, it's over. Burr starts rapping. Things are done. Everybody understands what it means. Even some of the anchors who I will not name that worked on the weekends that were not the smartest. So, all of that being said, nobody's ever got more than 15 seconds.
Yep.
Brent, you've been on TV how long?
20 years.
So you usually know how long 15 seconds is
no, that's
in like
not
a
true.
newscast.
You do get more than 15 seconds. You get 10s and 5s.
Tell him,
No,
Brent.
you
Don't.
don't.
Let him disrespect you, man.
You're not a studio tech. You don't know what it's like in there.
He really
Listen,
is being a
the
know-it-all,
last one
Kasey.
who was 4, and I know it because she ever said she would say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Tree.
What are you talking about?
So she would count me down every day. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Tree.
How is she talking to you if you're on TV?
In the IFB, Kasey, what,
saying
you never
it.
worked in TV before?
She would do it going in to the break.
Going in. Exactly. But we weren't going.
Here's the thing
We were
that he
getting
doesn't want
out.
to tell you. We talked about this before we came back, and Aaron
And
heard this.
no,
I said,
and
give me a
said-
30 and then count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
No,
to
I
the
said
end.
15.
That's what
You
I
said
and we
yes.
agreed upon. You never said 15. I said,
I
don't give me a
thought
10.
you
I don't
could
need
do-
a 10. Give me a 5.
That's
That's
not what
what
he
I
said.
told him. It was
That's
the
not what he
exact
said.
conversation,
That's not what he
and
said.
that's how it went down.
That's not what he said.
Aaron heard it.
That's not what he said.
30
I did hear it.
and then a 5.
What did he-
And he does 30,
That's not what he said.
15, and no 5 or no 10.
I did
That's
hear
it.
it.
But here's the crazy part. When we got to 15, it's not like you started rapping. You just kept talking.
That's because I really did. I might have looked like I acknowledged a 15, but 15 wasn't even part of my
He's
psyche
like,
at the time.
Casey,
So what did
I
you think
will-
this was? Fist bump?
I never
Yeah,
even saw it.
exactly. He's like, right
I was
on,
just
brother.
looking at you, and you just assumed that I saw it.
Casey, I will take your 15 and raise you 2.5 minutes.
That's literally what it
That's how
was.
we got
And
it.
then he's looking at me like I'm the idiot. He's trying to figure out how to rap. I'm like,
Well,
go
you
get
know.
out.
Can't
We
blame him for that.
agreed upon a way to do it, folks. This is
No,
like drawing a
we
play in the
didn't.
dirt, and then he audible to a play that's not in the playbook.
This is not what
That's
we
what happened
called.
today. And he gets mad about it.
This is like the
And by
Urban
the way,
Meyer playbook.
we actually
There's no
worked out
plays
okay.
in there.
Hey, Aaron, what did you learn? Because you have like 5 seconds.
Oh, my God, it's great.
Yeah, just go.
This is definitely worth going into overtime.
Well, there's barely any over. Both teams
All
aren't
right,
getting the
here's
ball,
what I learned
apparently.
today on the Brent and Friends radio show. I learned Brent is almost ready to take a spirit journey with me and an ayahuasca shaman. He's pretty close. I learned that Clay is hanging out at parties that Brent isn't allowed to go to. Like, he's a VIP, and you're walking around like, who's this guy?
Yes.
I learned that Kasey thinks Tony Robbins is a place.
I did.
What the hell was that?
I still kind of think that.
By the way, net worth is estimated at $600 million.
By the
can't
way,
believe
some
he
people
scammed
probably
that
think
many of y'all.
some people probably think it is a place.
Well, I'm
still
going
do.
on a dark, quiet, isolation vacation to do ayahuasca in a little town called Tony Robbins. Brent, I also learned, has reached the end of Twitter.
Yes,
This is a
I have
milestone.
Apparently broken.
And then finally, I learned that Trevor's got so much arm strength, he needed to pen an article to really work it out.
All right, here's what I learned is that I'm supposed to take a picture today of Kasey in the hotel here in Phoenix, Arizona, with him wearing his Saks
Just his underwear.
extra large underwear to get 40,000 likes like Tom Brady.
Yeah, buddy.
This could be a very uncomfortable situation here at Super Bowl 57, but it might be worth it
Oh,
at the end of the day.
It's going to be great. We
If
need
you
to
missed
live
it-
stream that photo shoot.
We did talk to Cam Smith, cornerback from South Carolina, who also is a believer in sacks, apparently. And that will be on our program. If you want to subscribe on YouTube, go ahead, check it out, Action Sports Shacks, and also on the podcast, Action Sports Shacks as well. Brent Martineau, Kasey Kurtz, Aaron Schachter. We do it again tomorrow from Radio Row, Phoenix, Arizona, Super Bowl 57. Once again, with all our coverage, we appreciate the fine folks at Fields Auto Group, Tivoli's House of Cards, Bold City Heating and Air for providing you a lot of our coverage this week here in Phoenix, Arizona. Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton up next, an abbreviated edition. One team might only get the ball.
Only one team's getting the ball.
So hopefully you can listen before we hand off to FSU basketball after that. I'll see you on TV tonight, CBS 47 and Fox 30. Have a good night, everybody.
Let's do it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Do ball.
Thanks, Doug Peterson. Have a good night, everybody.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-587-5063. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-587-5063 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-587-5063 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-587-5063.
The experts at Wake Off's Cooling and Heating can help you save big, replacing your aging heating and cooling system with a new one backed by an incredible up to 10-year worry-free warranty, and have it installed as soon as the next day. Put zero down and have zero payments until 2024. Don't wait. Get a new heating and cooling system from Wake Offs and save. Book fast at wakeoffeasybook.com or call 904-204-3214.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. A day after his former Cavaliers teammate LeBron James became the NBA's all-time leading scorer, Kyrie Irving takes center stage tonight in Hollywood when he makes his Mavericks debut against the Clippers in LA, 10 Eastern ESPN TV. In Irving, the Mavs have a star to play alongside Luka Doncic, and together they will form one of the NBA's most dynamic duos, believes ESPN NBA analyst Jalen Rose.
Both of these guys, guess what they make you do? Double team. And you can't double team both of them on the same play at the same time, which means they're going to be able to go one-on-one on a nightly basis. And it's going to be a nightmare for defenses. One of these guys is going to score 35 points every night.
Doncic tonight is out a third straight game with a bruised right heel. ESPN's Andrew Lopez reporting Pelicans forward Zion Williamson out through the All-Star break with an injured hamstring. At his annual Wednesday news conference before the Super Bowl, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell said NFL games will now be flexed on Monday Night Football next season, and there could be further flex scheduling on the horizon, even Thursday nights.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. At Progressive, they're making things even easier to help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save on both. Learn more at Progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
If WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
It's go time at UNF Arena for the Ospreys as the calendar is flipped to 2023. ASUN action is underway in men's and women's basketball on the campus of the University of North Florida. If you haven't seen a game courtside or from the new suite, it's one of the best seats in Jacksonville. Swoop with the Ospreys as they build toward a run in March. Buy a ticket, see a schedule, get a score at UNFospreys.com. Be a part of the momentum at the University of North Florida. Hoop it up, swoop it up, UNFospreys.com.
I like getting more. You too? Well, then you're going to love this. Cars, trucks, SUVs, but there's more. Imports, domestics, luxury, but there's still more. Like over 400 pre-owned on the lot. So come find it all and a whole lot more when you shop my friends at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Plus, with Arlington's 30-day exchange program, you get 30 days to love your purchase or exchange it. When you want more, get more and pay less at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Shop in person and online at arlingtontoyota.com.
Anybody can win at Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino Tampa. One jackpot is paid out every minute on the hottest slot machines and table games. With over $2 billion in jackpots paid out in the last year, you could be the next lucky winner. Seminole Hard Rock Tampa has over 800 rooms and suites, a luxurious rock spa and salon, award-winning restaurants, and an exciting comedy and concert lineup, including pool parties with world-renowned artists. With a variety of gaming, dining, and entertainment options, anybody can win at Seminole Hard Rock Tampa.
Are you looking for a venue to celebrate your special occasion that guests can't stop talking about? Call Riverside North Special Events and Banquet Hall. We specialize in anniversaries, weddings, birthday parties, corporate meetings, family reunions, fundraisers, graduations, and funerals. This unique, all-inclusive, full-service venue is the way to go. Call us today at 354-4162 and let us book your next event. All proceeds from bookings benefit the Clara White Mission.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
Hear ye, peasants and paupers alike. MJ stands and haters, you are but one and the same. You are wretched. You are inconsolable, incorrigible even. I think I used that word right. I feel sorry for you that your children have to call you their mothers and their fathers, but I digress. The declaration has been made and the coronation has happened. In this year of our Lord 2023, on the 8th day of February, LeBron James Sr. has already taken what's rightfully his birthright, the coveted all-time scoring leader record. He has conquered every foe. He has persevered where others have faltered. Mike Jordan could never, for one entire score. The way he has handled balls on the hardwood has made him a mini guy who is looked up to by every man because of how he handles balls. Yeah, okay. Pause that. All right. I was trying to say it a different way in mid-sentence, and I was like, oh, I really should pause this. Anyway, what you witnessed yesterday as the third quarter drew to an end in the Lakers game against OKC is the culmination of a career that is not matched by anyone. And then his speech will go down in the halls as one of the greatest. He'll be known by many a name for that speech. Le Cuss James. Yes. Le Swearing on National Television James. Le F-Word James.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, Le F-Word. I like that one too. You can call him anything but a child of God, but don't forget to add this title on too. Kang. It's with an A. And for all of you nothings that didn't believe, I do still have one question. Are you not entertained? That is all. I always like this part of the song, man. It's like that big crescendo.
Bops. Yeah,
and then it comes up. Yeah, you know, still kinging it around here.
That was the voice of the broadcast on Brian Middleton. Casey Kurtz with you, Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton for only a few moments. FSU plays basketball tonight. Apparently it's on the radio. But LeBron James, the all-time leading scorer in the NBA. And my favorite moment was when he cussed. Like you got a different relationship here with LeBron. It's your favorite. That's your guy. And I get it. But, like, I was watching it. I was like, cool. There's another part that I appreciated that I'll tell you in a second. But, like, when he cussed, I was like, this is, like, one of the best moments of all time. And then I appreciate how, like, nothing happened after that. Like, there was no, like, we apologize for the language from TNT. They were like, let's go to break. More basketball next. That was awesome. That was my favorite part. So, shout out to LeBron James for getting it done. Here's the other part about it. We talk about consistently players who, when they don't live up to the hype that they have as like a prospect or early in their careers, right? And that's always the conversation. It's never the guy that lived up to it. LeBron James was on the cover of Sports Illustrated in high school. Talk about hype. And now, how many ever years later, 2023, as Brian Middleton just told you, he has scored more points than anybody that's ever played basketball. And is still going. And although is not in his prime, kind of feels like it because he'd just be scoring on everybody who's looking. So how many points does he build this thing out to? Will it ever be close? Will anybody ever get to it? Maybe Luka, but like other than that, I don't know. But what a moment for LeBron James. Brian Middleton, how did you celebrate the moment when it happened?
Oh, yeah, man. Listen, first of all, you know, I clapped. One, because, you know.
You really clapped, like, in your house?
Boy, I was, I was, if you can see him on the stream, I was like, come on now.
Yeah.
Do it with a fadeaway. Let them Michael Jordan fans really hurt. Do it with the move that the boy did it with. That was the first thing. And then I clapped again because I watched that for free, and I didn't have to pay thousands of dollars to go see it in person. Felt just as good. Just as good. Now, granted, I don't know what it feels like to see that in person, but I'm just saying. But overall, Kasey, you know, to the point you were making about all of the hoopla, him coming out of high school, a little history lesson, and I know this mainly because I was in that particular region when this happened. There was a guy named Kwame Brown,
yes,
who was a high schooler, who was lauded upon, who was basically Michael Jordan's pick a couple of years prior to LeBron James going into the league as a high schooler. And honestly, do you remember yesterday we were talking about Mike Vick's comments about being in the right setting, especially as a young player?
Yes.
And Kwame Brown is the poster child for that. So I remember watching him as a kid, like going to like some of the, if there was like a game going on, like a high school game, because he went to Glen Academy and I lived in Camden County. So it like going to, you know, the high school basketball game, like that's not out of the ordinary, you know what I mean? And he was a big deal. He was a big deal down there. I didn't realize, you know, at that time how big of a deal he was until it was like, oh, wow, he got drafted #1 overall. And it didn't go as planned, even though he had a long career. My point is this. So LeBron was dealing with that as well. You know, Kwame was the most recent highly touted high school player. You know, and then prior to that, you had some other guys. I think Kobe and KG did it in the 90s. So, you know, that was, you know, plus to watch those guys really do it. Anyway, yeah, for him to do this and me doing it for 20 years, Kasey, what were you doing 20 years ago? Probably starting kindergarten.
Yeah, it's 5.
For most of your life, all you have known is that Tom Brady is really good at football and LeBron James is really good at basketball.
It's very true.
It's wild.
It's extremely true. And just to, like, off that point, was I alive before? Yes. Do I remember? No. So, like, you start remembering stuff at some point. But to me, it feels like that age is like 4, 5, 6 even. So as long as I remember, let's just say it that way, those two things were true. And then add into it this part of it as a guy who plays video games. I've had the option every single year I've played video games to play with LeBron James without having to go to, like, the legend teams. Tom Brady, same deal. Like, that is something. That is, like, obviously to break records that have stood in the history of the sport for a very long time, you have to play for a very long time. I understand that. I get that. But there's a reason why there's a ton of great players in every sport, and none of them come near doing what some of these guys have done, like Tom Brady, like LeBron James. And that's because there's just one GOAT each and every time. And LeBron James, although does not have the most NBA titles in the history of the sport, fun fact, neither does Michael Jordan. And I don't know why I'm making a case to defend LeBron James right now, but I feel like after doing radio with you for all these times, I feel like I have to. So there is levels of greatness. LeBron's is at the top, and I greatly appreciate the expectations that were put on him and how he delivered on all of those expectations with the championships, with the points scored, and what he will continue to do in like the rebounds and the assists category. So it's crazy. It is a crazy thing, and shout out to LeBron for getting that done. Yeah, what you got?
Well, Kasey, I just want to do it justice. I know I did my, song and dance, court jester, but I just want to take one more listen. Let it marinate for everybody who may have not seen it for like 100th time. Let this be your 100th time right here. This is the actual play.
This doesn't have the what he said at the end.
I sure hope not. We'll find out. I'm close to the dump button.
What?
Let's go. We're good. Aaron Schechter assured me that this was clean.
Start reaching for the dump button as you press play.
There we go.
Westbrook to James at the elbow. James turns. The crowd wants it. James free throw line. James fade. Jumper. Good! NBA history in Los Angeles. LeBron James. A record that had stood for almost 4 decades. Now belongs to the King. 38,389 points and climbing. And with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar here in attendance to pass the baton, LeBron James is the NBA's new all-time scoring king.
Meanwhile,
tell y'all, man,
we're losing to Oklahoma City.
See, now why you got to be like that? Why you got to be like that?
You got to. Which, by the way, I still stand by what I said. Oklahoma City didn't deserve the moment. Shout out to them.
They're a fun team to watch.
They are.
I didn't mind the game.
Yeah. But, that's the best part. They do all the ceremony, and then they're like, and the Lakers are down 8 to Oklahoma City. Tough. It did sound nice, though. A little crisp. Nice call right there. Well done. LeBron James, all-time scoring record in the NBA. Hard transition. Brian Middleton is the master of the poll.
Yo, chill.
And you asked this.
Yeah, you out in Arizona now, man. Some of my people might be out there. You got to calm down, man.
So
Give
just
context.
To be clear, your people are not in Jacksonville. They're in Arizona.
I got people in Arizona. I got people in Florida. I got people in Cali. I'm everywhere, man. You could be touched anywhere. I'm in this.
Pause. Did you just hear what you just said? Okay.
Oh, boy. Man.
I can't even say.
I'm mad that this is only a 20-minute show. Holy smokes.
It might only be a 20-minute show ever if you keep saying stuff like that.
This might be my last 20 minutes.
Holy cow.
Is this Jules calling me? Is this Jim? Who is this? What I mean is, the gangsters say on their albums, I got people everywhere. That's all I mean. Anyway, you were saying.
Second hard transition of the last 4 minutes. You put up a Twitter poll. I don't even feel comfortable saying the other part now because after you had that first part in.
Holy smokes.
You said, which MVP would you want to win the most? The Super Bowl MVP, the World Series MVP, the NBA Finals MVP, or the World Cup MVP?
Yeah.
And I would imagine most of your following is NBA. Only 5% of the vote. Ain't that something?
Ain't that something?
Is that what you voted for? Did you vote?
No. You know what? I might just be a little slow. I'm never allowed to vote on my own poll.
Oh, yeah, you're not. That's right.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't like your technology.
No, you're right.
challenge.
I forgot with the double account, like I have the ESPN account, like I can vote on my but you would have voted for the NBA Finals, or the NBA Finals MVP, which got 5% of the vote.
No, I wouldn't have.
Oh, you wouldn't have?
No, I would have voted for the World Cup.
You would have voted for the World Cup MVP, which I believe is actually called the Golden Ball.
It is. I didn't want to say it. I'm already on thin ice. But I didn't want to say that. But yeah, I would. What?
Why?
Yeah,
I'd love to hear this.
Listen, I'm not a fool. Though the NBA continues to gain ground, soccer as a world sport is way bigger. And we start talking about the numbers, the endorsements across countries. Mm-hmm. I get it, man. You want to be big time in the USA? Who doesn't? But if I can be big time in the world, I'm going to take that. So give me that World Cup MVP that is named something else that I won't say because Kasey Kurtz has made this awkward.
You made it awkward. It was great, but you made it awkward. Interesting. In your Twitter poll, the World Cup MVP, otherwise known as the Golden Ball, with 6%. World Series MVP with 23% of the vote. And then the Super Bowl MVP, 66% of the vote. I'm surprised by that because I feel like this might be just a me thing, but like I can name World Series MVPs from like the years that I was like super diehard into baseball, right? You remember it. I can never name Super Bowl MVPs outside of like the quarterback. Like if you give me any Super Bowl, you're like, who was it? You tell me the two teams, I'm guessing the better quarterback every time.
Mm-hmm.
But like outside of that, like there's always like somebody will win, and it's like, if it's not the quarterback, like it's weird. It's weird. The Super Bowl MVP to me feels like an award that should be more prestigious than it actually is. Do I have that right?
Yeah.
Like, do you feel that way as well? Like, I just feel like, yeah, it's obviously a big honor, but I feel like the World Series MVP just is more appreciated, I guess.
No, I would say there's a lot more lore and there's a lot more, like you just said, like prestige for whatever reason with baseball. So I'm surprised by this as well. It may be a bit of recency bias, but then again, NFL is running things in this country, and it's been that way for a while. But you start thinking about World Series MVP or who won the pennant this year, or you start thinking about, like Cy Youngs, things of this nature, the home run record.
Yeah.
And I think that like baseball, I find myself being able to like recount some of these numbers when I don't watch the sport like that. I just don't.
Yeah.
But then you start getting into things like the Super Bowl MVP. Someone can have a great game as opposed to, you start talking about a whole series. They probably had a good series, or they're usually the better players are going to show up when you're playing a best of 7 versus a best of 1. You know what I mean? So I'm surprised by this poll as well.
So Amanda has texted me and said, I voted Super Bowl MVP on his poll.
Look at
so
you.
there you go.
Good
You're
for
reaching
you.
the people.
Like that.
I did not vote. I just retweeted. But I would have voted for a World Series MVP because mostly for all the reasons I just said. But I think that group of the World Series MVPs, to me, is extremely prestigious. So that's why I would do it. And I just think it's the cooler award to win. You got to be on for a series. You can't just have one moment, because if you really think about it with Super Bowl MVP, you can come down to one moment. You make one play, you could win it. So I got to go with the World Series MVP there. Hard transition number 3 of the show. This one is not a requirement like the last one was. We won't have time to get fully into it today, but earlier today, you caught up with Alex Bowman from NASCAR. How did that go, my friend?
I did. Listen, man, Alex Bowman, stand-up guy, favorite driver in the NASCAR Cup Series at this point.
Nice.
He sold me, okay? He sold me with a 10-minute interview. Guy should be a car salesman, okay? Actually, I mean, he's way more successful. But, yeah, man, I had a good time chatting it up with him, man. We talked about a lot of things that happened from, last season to this season. He had a pretty bad wreck out at Texas last year that kind of took him out for a good minute. But he's come back, and this past Sunday, he plays 4th at the Clash. Yep. So I mean, he's already back on it. We talked about some things, outside of the NASCAR series as well. That was very interesting. At one point, he talks about how he almost failed driver's ed. One of the elite NASCAR drivers almost failed high school driver's ed. So that was an exciting story to get to hear. So I'm excited to play that for the people when we get a chance later on this week.
Yeah, we will do that later this week. Let me ask you this. How much research did it take to give me some of those terms you just gave me, like NASCAR Cup Series, like very basic terms, but I feel like ones that you maybe had to research a little bit.
No, absolutely. First and foremost, hold on, let me give you this. That's the right answer.
Thank you.
So, I woke up when I usually do, and I did my workout and all the stuff I do in the morning time. Then I was like, okay, I got a couple hours. Let me actually sit down and do some really solid research so I can at least, for 10 minutes, talk intelligently with a race car driver, because I feel like, there are certain people that probably get on the phone with him or get him in person and don't have any idea what they're talking about other than the research somebody else has given them, and he can tell it. So, I played to my strengths. I got the basic info correct. Feel good. Couple hours of research.
Nice job, Brian Middleton. Does this mean you'll be like a NASCAR fan now?
I'll check out Daytona in a couple of week and a half. I'll check it out.
Yeah, but after that?
I mean, there's so many. I mean, they got so much stuff going on. I'm like, I'll check out some big races, and I really don't know where else to find it either, by the way. Is there like a NASCAR channel? I have no idea.
No.
Okay. No? It's usually on Fox 30. When I was over
in
TV,
it is.
It was normally on Fox 30.
On Fox 30.
So.
And that's the plug for Brent coming up on TV at Fox 30 here in a couple of minutes, because we are just about out of time. Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton. I don't think I ever said that. Live from Radio Row. I don't think I ever said that. I know I definitely didn't say that. But that's where we are for the rest of the week. And we will be here tomorrow when the show comes back together. Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton.
Okay, so let me go back real quick. Super Bowl MVPs. I got them listed real quick. Let me just read like the last 10 or so, because I think your concession that if it's a quarterback, I'm gonna pick the better one. So you got Cooper Kupp, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Julian Edelman, Nick Foles, Tom Brady, Von Miller, Tom Brady, Malcolm Smith, Joe Flacco, Eli Manning, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, and I'll stop there.
So, but that is a good one. And then for the point, go back to Edelman. He made that catch. You remember that catch?
Yeah.
That's why he won. Like, everything that happened in that football game, but he made that one play. In the other, like, that's the standout moment from that game. Like, that's why he won. Like, the stat line, I'm sure, was fine, but, like, that's it. The highlight moment, the moment you remember, was that moment. He made the play, and they didn't give it to the quarterback. So that's how it goes. Like, it's such an odd thing. It's either the better quarterback or it's the one play. And, like, I'm not mad at it, but I just think the baseball one, you got to be on fire for 5, 6, 7, whatever it may be, games in that series. That's why I'd go with that one. As simple as that. But good work, Brian Middleton. Good research right there on the Super Bowl MVPs. That's going to do it from Radio Row on a Wednesday. And if you learned one thing from the show, Brian Middleton is the master of the poll. And if he had his choice, he would want to win the Golden Ball Award. That's Brian Middleton.
Times a million.
That is Brian Middleton.
Holy smokes.
I'm Kasey Kurtz, and I'd rather win the World Series MVP. We'll do it again tomorrow. FSU basketball coming up next. Have a great night, everybody.
I want to eat a spicy chicken in my Tesla. Is it too much to ask?
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds, proud to offer a huge selection of both lab-grown and natural diamonds at the lowest prices guaranteed.
A tune-up by Wake Off's Cooling and Heating will extend the life of your air conditioning system, avoid costly repairs, and lower costs to keep your home comfortable. Wake Off's will perform a multi-point seasonal system tune-up and inspection for just $59 as soon as today. Plus, every Wake Off's tune-up is backed by their industry-leading no-breakdown guarantee. Call 904-204-3214.